there. Come on. 3-point stance, we advance. Ball in my hands, I don't take no chance. Touchdown dance, that's my jam. No hot takes, this is nothing but rants. Nothing but rants. Nothing but rants. Nothing but rants. On the beat, hey. Yeah.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to MBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What's up? You really like that?
Let's shut up and grind some tape.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome in to the Film Guy Network on a fabulous Wednesday evening here inside the studio. We got an absolutely loaded show for you guys ready today. It is indeed Wednesday, so we have What If Wednesday, of course, as always, on a fine Wednesday here inside the studio. We have Now or Never Talks. As you can see by the title of today's stream and the thumbnail, we're going to put some folks on some clocks. You're either going to do it now or you might not ever do it. We're going to talk about that tonight. We're also buying and selling first-time college football playoff teams. We got 6 candidates. You got to buy 3 and sell 3. That's what we're going to do tonight. And we have some rule tweaks in college football.
Ooh.
Yeah, some rule tweaks in college football. We also have a new operating system, so hopefully everything sounds good. Everything looks good. Did some test runs today. Hopefully everything's rolling smooth. We even had some pre-show chats going on today because we can schedule streams now. So good stuff. Hope you guys enjoy it. Make sure you're liking. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you are telling a friend. If you haven't told a friend about this place, you're a bad friend. We've been talking about that all off season, and college football season is here. So no better time to be a sicko with the Film Guy family than right about now. Boys, where should we start? Don't even answer. I know where we should start. Last night, we started with a bottom-of-the-barrel Big Ten team. So tonight, why not start with a bottom-of-the-barrel SEC team? Let's start the most pressing news today, the Arkansas Razorbacks. How about that?
I would be surprised if we would say that Northwestern and Arkansas are leading off the newsreels for 2 straight days.
They are.
But shout out to them.
That's how diverse when it comes to topics we are around here. We started with Northwestern last night. We're going to start with Arkansas tonight. Ryan Silverfield explained in an article with The Athletic today that apparently he spent most of his offseason, what'd you call it, Kirby, rallying the troops for support?
Yeah, he's played fundraiser basically this entire offseason. The Athletic did a really big article on this about how he basically has gotten Arkansas and realized that they do not have the funds that they need to be competitive within the SEC, within college football as a whole. And there's a couple of interesting quotes to read from that. The Athletic director, Hunter Yurchek, is it Yurchek or Yursek? I would assume check because CH.
Just pick one and go with it.
Quote, we have a per capita, I think the greatest depth of billionaires in any state in the country, but per capita, we kind of have the shallowest pool of millionaires. Interesting. And now, so we have so many incredible donors, but this football piece, this NIL piece, it just exploded. And anybody that said they were well prepared for it, I think would be fooling you. So basically admitting that Arkansas, like a lot of schools, were not necessarily prepared for the new era of NIL football or NIL athletics in general. Another one said, I said we need to increase this, so I put on my fundraising hat and spent the last of the 8 months doing so, said Ryan Silverfield. In order for us to compete in the SEC, there's a certain amount that we need to get financially to give ourselves a chance. I think at some point, most people realize that around here, that we weren't where we needed to be. So it's basically, like we said, them realizing what we announced when Silverfield took this job, like, hey, the funds aren't there for you to succeed.
That's honestly what we talked about most when he was announced as the head football coach at Arkansas. Is like, dude, you went from a have of all haves in the mid-major market with Memphis to a considerably have not with regards to football spending. For those who don't know and aren't aware with American Conference football, Memphis gets about, I'd say 3x the amount of NIL money everybody else in that conference gets. Tulane's got a little bit of cash down there in the New Orleans area. That's a really prominent educational system. So that's a really hard school to get into. Everybody that graduates from there seems to be a very successful lawyer. They have a bunch of money at Tulane. Still not near as much as Memphis because FedEx is located there in Memphis, Tennessee, and FedEx gave Memphis $20 million to spend on NIL and just football alone. So he went from that to now having to be a crowdsourcer. And this is something we've also talked about a lot on this network about how we compared NIL collectives and NIL crowdsourcing as basically super PACs, right? Like when you think of political campaigns, those are things that, these people have to go out and drum up a bunch of money to run a campaign. And then once the campaign cycle is done, win, lose, or draw, they got to go right back out and ask some of the same people for some more money for their next campaign. That's basically what college football coaches and administrators have been doing since NIL has come about in about 2021, 2022, really started ramping up in 2023. And super PACs, they have to be replenished. And nowadays, it's almost like a monthly thing. Like we have to pay out every month. Yes, we have some rev share nowadays, but we have to constantly go out and crowdsource these things and go out and drum up funds and drum up money. Something he didn't really have to worry about at Memphis relative to his competition. And now at Arkansas, not only does he have to do it within the conference, he's got to figure out, talking to Eurocheck, hey, like, I know basketball's cool and all, and I know we have a top 10 baseball program here, but do y'all want to get this football program up off the floor? Because if so, I need some of that Tyson money. I need some of that Walmart money. I need some of that, what did he say, per capita billionaire? I need some of that stuff. And what he's talking about is Tyson and Walmart. I think that's about the only two major companies that are centrally located in Arkansas.
I believe so, but the way they described it, there seems to be, a pretty decent size of billionaires within
probably some old school money, some old money. We've been raising hogs for hundreds of years, and we got millions of acres out here in
but there's
bum nowhere, Arkansas.
But there's not a lot of millionaires, which makes it interesting. So the top is really heavy, but the in between, what you need.
It's kind of indicative of our national economic system right about now. Not to get too buried in the weeds there, but seems like there's a consolidation of wealth in Arkansas and all across the country nowadays. But anyways, I always called it a super PAC. We always talked about it with Memphis. I also think this is why, and this isn't relative to the Arkansas news, but did you see the reporting out of Tennessee's funding recently?
No, what about that?
So when Danny White, who, by the way, I think is one of the better athletic directors from a money standpoint of like getting as much money into the program as we humanly possibly can, I think he's one of the best in college athletics that we have. I don't know how Tennessee fans feel about him, but every time I go up there, I'm like, good Lord, they have some new revolutionary way to get money out of their fans and into their athletic program. When he first took the job, fundraising was at $37 million annually. Any guesses what they reported for fundraising last year?
Probably 60.
Decent guess. Actually, horrible guess.
Okay.
Any guesses?
Okay, well, based on that, I'll go like 170.
$175 million. $175 million in one annual cycle. That's how much money Danny White got people to donate to Tennessee athletics last year. Absolutely insane. And that's where we're at nowadays in college football and college athletics, particularly college football. That's what we talk about around here. But and we've talked about this on this network, how used to these athletic administrators, these athletic directors, and these people that were making decisions for these athletic departments, I have no idea what their degrees were in. They were scattered all across the landscape of educational systems, and most of them worked in educational systems all the way up, and then they graduated, and then they just continued to climb the ladder. Nowadays, you're better off having somebody who's, I don't know, had background in running Fortune 500 companies. Like, you're better off having somebody who has a business brain, not a athletic administration brain. Like, we need business people running these departments and figuring out, A, how to get as much money as we humanly possibly can, but B, also stretching the dollar. Like, that is the most paramount thing that we possibly can have nowadays.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the pressing question, I think, from all this is, did they raise money? Have they made any advancements? And it actually gives an answer to that. It says Arkansas says $25 million have already been raised for its Razorback Foundation directly for football, and the program has raised its annual goal from $30 million to $50 million. Silverfield said his player pool will increase in 2027. So it seems like they're making steps in the right direction. It seems like they are putting themselves in a position to get more talent on the field. Whether that's going to equate to more wins, we'll see, but things are heading in the right direction.
Man's got no aura, but he's got some cash now.
Looks that way.
It's important.
Do you want your coach to have aura? I think we talked about this at SEC Media Days. Do you care if your coach has aura?
I think that kind of correlates with wins. Like winning equals aura.
Yeah.
Like
Yes, to an extent.
Like Signetti's got aura now, but if you saw him without the wins, you're like, wait a minute, this guy wears no undershirt under his quarter zips? What is going on here?
Like, and this isn't. I'm not saying this to take a shot at this program, but I don't think Ryan Day has aura. But Ryan Day is one of the top 3 head coaches in college football.
That's a great point.
Ryan Day, I think, is like a really good example of like a great coach that doesn't have aura. But
Yeah.
every like great coach I think of like had like Kirby Smart, Nick Saban, even Bill Belichick to a certain degree when he was with the Patriots. Like all those guys have a certain aura to them. So I think it's kind of a requirement.
There's far more successful coaches with aura than without. I will say that.
Correct.
Because I was trying to think of another example other than Ryan Day.
Who's got aura but loses?
Biff Poggi.
Yeah, Biff Poggi's.
Yeah,
Biff
dude.
Poggi's got aura.
There we go.
Did not work out as a football
That's
coach,
the
as a
answer.
head coach at least. I feel like Shane Beamer had some of this.
He gets clowned on a lot too, though.
Yeah, it seems forced. It seems like he's trying to be cool.
Ed Orgeron?
But I think like
Orgeron won though.
Yeah,
kind of
but,
natty.
But he had the He also lost a lot in those last 2 years, but still kind of had the. It's interesting. Like, I don't know.
Sark hasn't won yet, and we have a Texas fan in here saying he's got massive amounts of aura.
I would not.
I wouldn't go
wouldn't
as far
say
as saying
massive.
massive.
Yeah, no.
He looks cool in all white though. I'll give him that.
yeah, I don't know that I would say he has aura. But
I don't think
he's
Sark
a good
has
football
aura.
coach. So,
Dabo doesn't have aura. He's won.
and I think this is the example that I was going to talk about with Shane Beamer. Of Shane Beamer is just an example of it. Like if Shane Beamer was winning at a high rate, I don't know that he really gets clowned on as much for like some of his stunts that he does. I don't think he gets clowned on for making TikTok
Certainly
videos
not.
as much.
No.
And Dabo Sweeney, in the heat of his prime, if he was making his stupid TikToks, like doing the hickory dickory dock thing.
Did you see the video they released of him the other day?
No, I
Sliding
didn't.
down the slide.
Oh yeah, see,
Slide
like,
down the slide. He lands on his feet and he goes, "Time to go."
see,
It's
if
like,
that was in the
ugh.
heat of Clemson's prime, I don't think that gets clowned on as much. I think it's like, dang, Dabo Sweeney's such a fun coach. Look at this guy. Now it's this guy sucks.
Yeah, no. I've never thought once.
I don't feel like Mike Elko's got aura, but he wins.
True. It's a good example.
Yeah, but he's
But I've
also
never-
like it's also.
I don't
such
know.
a
He was spitting
small-
bars at SEC Media Day.
Yeah.
It's also a really small sample size. Like, yeah,
Correct.
he won at Duke, but like we're in year 2 at Texas A&M.
I think that's also a little sizeism.
Maybe, could be. I mean, Mike Elko does look like he's about to pop.
Occasionally.
Yeah, like his face gets red, and you're like, is he gonna be okay?
Is he okay?
Yeah, like I'm like you're like the LSU game last year. I legitimately said 5 times like, is he going to be all right? Scary.
Mike Gundy has some aura, and he lost towards the end.
I think
of
Mike Gundy is the epitome of like has aura, but also did not really have
it.
success.
He's Big 12 Shane Beamer, to be honest with you.
That's fair.
I think those two are very, very equivalent.
Very fair.
I don't know. I mean, Mike Gundy came close to making a college football playoff, like a play away.
Yeah, Big 12 championship.
Yeah. He was a play away from making the CFB.
He's a step.
When a rub goes wrong.
Now, South Carolina fans will come back at me and say Shane Beamer was technically a play away. That BS penalty against LSU in the regular season, that cost us a college football playoff spot. I hear you, but they were actually like on the verge of it. They were ranked number 4 at the time.
All right, we do have some rule tweaks in college football heading into the 2026 college football season. Don't worry about it, Kirby. I did some reading so the audience doesn't have to. Here we go. Targeting in the second half no longer carries over into your next game.
Thank God.
If you're a first-time offender. So Smoke Monday, you still going to be sitting out in every every first half of every football game you've ever played. So your second offense of this in the second half, you will get suspended for the first half of your next football game upon further review. So your football team does have an option to send it into the league office and get it under review. So there is that. Offensive pass interference. How many yards did offensive pass interference used to count for?
I guessed 5 pre-show.
You did, as did you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, chat, how many yards did offensive pass interference get counted off against you in previous years of college football? I'll wait.
You're going to have to wait a bit.
The answer was 15 yards. Now it's only 10. I don't know why. I have no idea why, but I guess they felt the need to change that rule.
Yeah, I would love to know like who was lobbying for that. Like, hey, this is too, I don't know, interesting.
Personal fouls, they've changed this rule. The number one first down celebration will now get you 15 yards.
No.
Really?
15 yards. No sliming, no sniffing the nose, no, none of that. You can't do it. You're 15-yard penalty automatically. Carson Beck's in shambles right about now.
Curled up in a corner.
He got out just in time. The nose swipe is now gone.
I would love for someone to elaborate why that's a 15-yard penalty now. Like let's put the rules officials up to like, can you explain to me why this is bad?
Yeah, Malachi Tony's in trouble too because doesn't he do that? He does. He also does this one too.
So many people. So you can't celebrate first downs at all now. You can't.
No. You can. You can hit him with one of those. Hell, you can even rock the baby, but you cannot hit the nose swipe. You can't do it. You know what else you can't do? Shout out to Dylan Stewart. You cannot brandish a weapon. You can no longer brandish a weapon. What they didn't show was whether or not you could pull up the jersey and let everybody know you packing heat. I didn't see that one. So I guess you can show them that you still got that thing tucked, but you can't pull it out and brandish that weapon.
I thought that was the new strap because the seatbelt.
No, the
seatbelt got too mainstream.
Too mainstream.
Some people were pulling up and showing the strap.
Yeah, well, you can pull the jersey and let everybody know you're tucking, but you can't actually pull that thing out and brandish that.
I don't know if this was in the NFL or college football, but I did recently see a DB that had an actual seatbelt on him at practice, ready to break it out for a celebration.
DBs are so funny.
Like an actual seatbelt that clicked together and everything.
When Marshawn Lattimore put $23 in the Salvation Army, like DBs are some of the most creative people when it comes to doing stuff like that.
Yeah, so no brandishing a weapon, no nose swipe, and no throat slash. You can't be throat slashing.
I feel like throat slashing and brandishing weapons were always kind of, hey, can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, Dylan Stewart dumped an entire, extendo mag clip on that quarterback last year.
Yeah, that was 2024.
It was 2024?
Sorry, so
okay.
Brandishing weapons, what about arrows?
Huh.
Can I shoot an arrow at you?
There was Carson may have also been doing this. I feel like him and a wide receiver used to do this at Georgia. Yeah, and the other one would catch it.
Well, maybe you can shoot it to your teammates, but you can't shoot at other people. Like, not like Israel Adesanya, Alex Pereira style.
Yeah, big UFC guys around here.
You can't just unload a quiver into someone laying down.
Yes, can't do that.
I think that'll probably get you a penalty.
2 replay challenges per game. If you go 1 for 2, you get a third.
Okay.
But you have to have at least one timeout left because if you don't get the challenge, they charge you a timeout.
Okay.
Maybe I'm just mixing up NFL rules here, but wasn't that already a rule as well? Like if you got your first challenge right, you got it back, so you did get 3 challenges?
I don't know.
Okay.
But now if you miss the first one, hit the second one, you get a third. So you just have to go 1 for 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where the difference is.
So there's that. They also tweaked the punt protector rules, but I think only the Big Ten kept the rule and everybody else lobbied against it. But to be honest with you, and I went on my college football tour this spring, my football pilgrimage, when this rule was ultimately implemented nationwide before they nixed it everywhere else other than the Big Ten, because I heard a Michigan State special teams coordinator complaining about it. I, for the life of me, could not understand it. Because basically it said you have to get rid of the personal protectors up front, like in front of the punter, and you can't have anyone within the direct line of the snap, which you never did because you were going to snap it into them. But there's a funky new personal protector rule that I am not smart enough to understand, and apparently it's only going to impact Big Ten football teams. So I guess I'll be watching punts for Big Ten football games this year to see what the hell it actually means.
They were actually going over this in SEC media days
Ooh.
before any of the coaches spoke. And
Great question from the chat. Sorry, go ahead.
They'll say, me and Jay were looking at each other like, I don't really understand what they're talking about.
Yeah, it kind of lost me there, to be honest.
So,
Do you think you can still pull a pin and toss a grenade?
Ronald Acuna did that for his home run celebration last year. As
a
he was
good
rounding
question.
first base, toss a nade, cover the years. Mm-hmm. So
we'll see.
And
John Morant did this on 3-pointers.
baseball's the king of no fun around here. So if you can do it in baseball, I would imagine that you could do it on a football field.
It'd be a decent sack celebration.
Underutilized.
I don't feel like it's a good
celebration.
first down celebration.
Yeah, a little too long. in
I
my
just hit him
opinion.
with the. What would your first down celly be?
Just point.
No fun.
Just
no
throw
fun.
the ball as hard as I can at the ref.
No celebration at all. I hand it off to the referee and keep on my business.
Like 2 feet away, just beam him right
I
in
was
the
a
gut.
defensive guy. I never worried about, what's my celebration going to be when I do this?
Yeah, I was offensive lineman. I never once had a celly.
Yeah.
I don't even think I talked trash looking back at my career. I was too winded. I was too worried about the next snap. Too focused. Too worried about my 8-second memory. That's it. Just wipe it clean. Start anew. That's how we play ball. What the heck's going on there? Apparently my Let's View app's not working right now.
Oh, no.
Oh,
that's
nope.
'cause
We're good.
No, hold on. That's because I also don't have it open over here.
Producer's not doing his job over there.
I am
I'm trying to
doing
do
my
my job. Producer's not doing
man.
his job. Let me know when you're ready.
It's open.
Oh, okay. We're ready now?
Yes.
Hey, we're ready to give our friends over at SeatGeek a nice shout out. We love our friends over at SeatGeek. If you haven't already, head over there today. With over 35 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app in the entire world. This round rock that keeps spinning, SeatGeek's #1 on top of it. More than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports, festivals, and much, much more. College football is almost back. The MLB playoffs are right around the corner. Plus, NFL and NBA seasons aren't too far behind. What games should we search today, boys?
Perhaps we see what it would cost to see the Las Vegas Raiders host the Arizona Cardinals tomorrow in Allegiant Stadium for the preseason game.
Guess I'll give you what you want. $16.
Let's go, dude.
$16 over there on SeatGeek, and with 10% off using promo code FilmGuy10. I mean, what do you get, $1.60 off from
That's a
that ticket?
bargain.
Because it's a whole hell of a lot of money, $16 to go to Allegiant Stadium and watch Fernando Mendoza versus Carson Beck. A little natty rematch out there. Yeah, man, you can sit in some prime seats over there. Promo code FilmGuy10, 10% off any tickets. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app today and have the code automatically applied to your account. Thank you to our friends over at SeatGeek. Head over there today. Guys, it's very important, all right, especially as up to something season comes to a close around here, that you support those who are supporting us, all right? We got a lot of people trying to get in on the mix here. We've been very selective with our companies that we're choosing to promote for you guys. We need you guys to throw the full-throated support of this place around those partners. Appreciate you guys for supporting those who support us. All right, it is buy, sell time. No holds. Ain't no holding around here.
Really?
Are you attempting to test whether or not your water thing is waterproof?
I just wondered how the
in front of all of that technology that you're sitting
When
in
have
front
I
of?
ever spilled water on the kid? Who out of the three people here, who has caused more damage to the equipment? One, two.
My
I was
children.
trying to see how the front of my shirt got so wet. However, it's
This
not
is
the water
not the
bottle.
place for a wet T-shirt contest. Okay,
Thank you.
so
I'll
please
keep
stop.
that in mind, Joe. I'll send
No
that
one wants to
send
see
that
that.
to HR.
I will. I'll file it right now.
Who is HR?
It's quite disturbing.
What is HR?
It's a great question.
So we're buying and selling.
We're buying and selling. All right, there are some football teams who have not made the college football playoff, and we have 6 candidates that might have a chance this year to get into the playoff for the very first time. Do you want to hear the candidates?
Let's
Yes.
hear the candidates.
We have USC, the Trojans. We have BYU, the Cougars. We have the Louisville Cardinals, the Florida Gators. Still haven't made a playoff.
Nope.
They were close in 2020.
Very close. Did not make it.
Very close in 2020. The Utah Utes have not made a playoff, and the Houston Cougars have not made a playoff. So let's start with the USC Trojans. Anybody buying?
Well, if we have to buy 3 teams, these are one of the teams I'm going to buy from a sheer talent standpoint on the roster, from a standpoint of your coach has said the window to compete for the playoff is now open in year 5, even after we had a Heisman quarterback. So I have to buy USC in this situation. However, if it were not buy requirements, I probably wouldn't be buying it, but they're the best candidates out of the 6.
I find it hard to buy them knowing that I'm already mentally chalking them up for 3 losses.
Certainly. Totally agree with that.
Yeah, that's fair. But I mean, of all of these teams who have like one of the better, like for instance, USC is one of the few teams on this list, in my opinion, who could lose 3 games and make a playoff. Considering the opponents that they have on the schedule, if they went 9-3, there is a case for them to make the playoffs still. That's why they're an easy buy for me, because they don't even have to go the benchmark of 10-2, as we like to call it. That seems to be the benchmark for making a playoff. They could go 9-3 in a world, have close losses to their 3 toughest opponents, and still make the college football playoff. There is a scenario out there where that exists.
I don't know, man.
It's not an easy schedule.
Yeah, Oregon, Ohio State, at Indiana.
Yeah.
That means they have to go perfect against Rutgers, Washington, Penn State, Wisconsin, Maryland, and UCLA.
They could also
That's doable.
They could also upset one of those teams.
Yeah, possible.
So I mean,
Yeah.
like
Possible.
Jay Will said, like if they go 10-2 with that schedule, they should be a playoff.
Oh,
team.
absolutely.
And there is a world where if you go 9-3 with that, you have an argument.
So you guys are buying, I'm selling. BYU Cougars, multiple of us had them in our college football playoffs.
Yeah.
So obviously, I'm buying this one.
I'm gonna have to buy this one.
Yeah,
I think that if you went through the list of Big 12 teams, everyone kind of assumes Texas Tech's going to get the nod, but BYU is, hey, can you beat Notre Dame? Or at the very least, give them enough of a sweat to make people think, okay, this is a legitimate football team. Because after that, there's not a whole lot on that schedule that should scare you as a BYU fan. They walked through the Big 12 last year with the exception of Texas Tech. They're not on the regular season schedule this year, so BYU could very well be a playoff team by the end of the season.
Yeah, Texas Tech not being on the schedule is a huge win for them, because even if you lose to Notre Dame, it's not a conference loss. You're still going to lobby yourself up in a strong position in the early parts of December to make another case for yourself to make the college football playoff. BYU is another easy buy.
The Louisville Cardinals. Anybody Lincoln Kindholes believers?
I'm going to have to sell this one.
I don't have much to go off of to buy any Lincoln Kindhold stock.
It's fair.
I'm going to sell this one. I've already bought 2 teams. I only have to buy one more. Louisville not going to be one of the teams I buy here.
Yeah, I'm not buying it.
I'm buying it. Let's do it. Louisville Cardinals. Let's do it. Jeff Brom, hell of a football coach. Isaac Brown, hell of a running back. Good enough in the ACC potentially. Can we get 2 teams into the college football playoff in the ACC this year? Maybe. I'm going to buy the Louisville Cardinals.
So you're out now. You don't have to buy any more teams.
No, I sold USC. I bought
that's
BYU, and I'm buying Louisville.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing.
So you think 2 ACC teams are going to make it?
Maybe.
If Louisville makes it, I think there has to be 2 ACC teams.
Well, no. I said maybe. Like, we're already in with Miami.
I know.
I'm conceding Miami already right here in August, playoff team.
Okay.
And then we sneak a second one in with Louisville.
Okay. All right.
We, the ACC homers around here. Florida.
I'm going to sell this
Sell it.
one. There's
Yeah.
too much. There's like the college football playoff competition in the SEC is already so congested, and I wouldn't include the Florida Gators in that conversation for myself. So if you want to throw them in there, I'm just going to have to sell that one. I mean, you can only have so many teams from one conference into a playoff. It's just not year one with John Summerall is not the year, in my opinion, where they make their first appearance.
Yeah, I think that there's too much going against them from a schedule standpoint. They have the talent. They have a lot of great talent, and I think coaching is going to take a boost there. I don't know if coaching is going to account for 6 more wins than they had last year. Like, that is such an incredible jump, and maybe it could happen, but the likelihood and the odds say sell that one.
Yeah, I just think right now they're the 4th, 5th, 6th, somewhere around there, maybe even 7th SEC team going into the season on paper. The talent's there. It always
Certainly.
has been.
Certainly.
I think the year 2, 3 windows are probably what we actually push our chips in, not only as a Florida fan base, but as an analyst base here today. I think it's a lot to ask for him to go from 4-8 to 10-2 potentially in this conference with this schedule, right? It's not like, and no offense, we know Sig's the greatest coach of all time, so Indiana fans, don't smoke me. Had to preface that a little bit. They were 10-2 in large part his first year, I felt like, because they had the 77th ranked schedule in all of college football.
Definitely.
That is not the case this year. And by the way, that's going to be the case potentially for Penn State. I don't think that's going to be the case this year for Florida. The schedule's too tough to eke out 10-2 this year. I think an 8-4 season, tippy cap, hell of a job. Next year we band together and see if we can actually make a run at this thing. I'm selling Utah so hard. Every time I see Utah in these top 25 rankings, I'm like, why?
Don't like Devin Dampier?
Never have.
Really?
Never have thought Devin Dampier scares me as a defensive mind.
It's not even that. Find me the program ever where you lose your head coach and people expect better results the very next year.
Yeah,
Like,
not lose your head coach. Like, he just walked away.
Yeah.
Most of these teams fire bad football coaches and then hire a good one, and that guy rebounds it really quickly.
Yeah, no, this guy like you lost your head coach. Like Alabama, no one pictured Nick Saban walking away and that team getting better all of a sudden. I think Houston is another example of this. Like, what makes you think that Houston is going to get better with a first-year head coach? I don't buy it. I'm selling this.
Utah.
Excuse me, Utah.
You're
My
good.
bad.
Also, now this is going to sound crazy. This looks like a tough schedule in the Big 12 for Utah.
They make those?
Yeah, apparently they do. Now, when I read this, you're going to be like, that's hard. Like, for a Big 12, I would say it's pretty tough. They have Arkansas. I honestly think Utah probably wins that game, but they got Iowa State on the road. They got Houston at home. They got BYU at home. Those two teams being in the mix for me. And then also, I mean, they also have to go at TCU. They're at Cincinnati. I don't know. To me, that's like one of the harder draws you can get in that conference. I'm going to sell Utah.
Now, they do have some continuity in the sense that the defensive coordinator that had been there for however many years with Whittingham is now the head coach over there. So
Certainly.
Culturally, you would imagine they are relatively similar to what they've been. It feels similar to those athletes that have been in the building. It's not like a brand new face, but it's a brand new head coach. And I'm not exactly buying Utah Ute stock to go on and make the playoffs.
No, I'm not.
Especially not as the second team in the Big 12. To me, that's either BYU or our next candidate, which is Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is why I'm buying Houston.
I'm buying
because,
Houston.
again, what we just talked about, Big 12 schedules in general just aren't all that tough. Even when you want to say they sound tough, you read them off and it's like, really? That's a tough schedule? Houston, I think, was really good last year. I don't think a lot of people necessarily talked about them. Definitely deserve some more respect for the season that they had last year. They returned the starting quarterback in Connor Wegman. I think they're going to be set to have another successful year, so I can easily buy them ending up in the conference championship game and punching their ticket.
Here's what I'll say. There's a world where we're entertaining it, where a lot of us believe that Houston is kind of going to be the team that pushes Texas Tech.
Mm-hmm.
If you beat Texas Tech, that is a top 5, top 10 win when you get that. The rest of your schedule is going to be so bad that signature win, even if they do stumble along the way somewhere else, 11-1 should be good enough to get them in the playoff. It will certainly get them a shot at the Big 12 championship. I think Houston has an excellent chance to do this.
We got a Connor Weigman study coming up at some point over the next 16 days, so that'll be fun.
Do you think people forgot that he's still playing football?
Most likely.
Yes.
Because I'm sure it was, he left Texas A&M, forgot about, doesn't exist anymore.
Had a pretty good year last year.
Had a really solid year
Really
last
good year
season.
last
Yeah, they ran the hell up out of him. Mm-hmm. Chat's saying it right now. Weigman still plays. Yep. Connor Weigman still plays. And if they give him 27 million totes again and he ends up getting hurt, it's all right. They'll roll Keyshawn Henderson out there, who was the number one quarterback in his class. So shouldn't be all that bad. Houston, good football program. Houston, well-coached football program. Still an Austin Armstrong believer. Mm-hmm. Defense coordinator out there. Big-time Willie Fritz show around here. We love what Houston's got going on. So, I'm buying the potential for them to win or get into the playoff for the first time in their school's history. Boys, it's Wednesday.
Ooh,
You know,
We've been burying the lead
I was
lately
about to
on
say,
What If Wednesday.
I think this is still the first What If Wednesday we've done so far.
I put it up in the early in the show notes just for this purpose.
Good.
Okay.
I don't know where I want to start because I got several of them. I got one right here. What if Penn State goes 10-2, but has 14-plus point losses to Michigan and USC? Do they get into the playoff?
Well, considering Notre Dame didn't get in the playoff last year as a 10-2 team with two really good losses that were not by that margin, I think it's very believable that Penn State would not get in the playoff in that scenario.
Well, here's something we have to consider. Part of the reason Notre Dame was left out was because they didn't play in a conference championship. They didn't show anything there. if if Penn State is 10-2 and one of their losses is Notre Dame, they're 8-1 in conference. They're most likely playing in the Big Ten championship.
Their 2 losses in this scenario, in this what-if scenario, are to USC and Michigan in back-to-back weeks.
You think Notre Dame would schedule Penn State?
I don't know why I heard Notre Dame.
I was saying Notre Dame last year.
Do you think Penn State would schedule Notre Dame? Notre Dame's at the point now where they are willing to schedule anyone because they have to make their schedule tough. Everybody else is ducking them because they're actually in a conference.
But if they have 2 losses in conference, they're probably not playing for a conference championship.
What would be their keynote win? The rest of the schedule is Wisconsin, at Northwestern, Purdue, at Washington,
one of those
Minnesota, Rutgers, and at Maryland.
One of those wouldn't have one.
One of those
their keynote win would be Washington.
One of those teams will sneak into the top 25. It's like it'll be that, and they'll say, "Oh, but they did beat this team." So I think they should get left out on that. I think that we've all kind of agreed that we're not going to sip the Penn State Kool-Aid, even how good the record is this year because the schedule's so bad. But I think they'll get. It'll also depend on what the other 10 teams look like.
I think a 9-3 Ohio State, if that were the case, should get in over a 10-2 Penn State.
I'd lobby
in
for
their
it.
own conference, especially if the other one of the 3 losses comes to Texas out of conference. What do you got?
I got this one. What if Texas gets absolutely handled at home by Ohio State? Like I'm talking 20-point loss.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I don't think that's possible.
It's a what if. It's not. Is it possible? It's a what if it happens. I don't
Sound the alarms.
Well, good news is you have 11 other games to make up for it. Just chalk it up to, it's week 1. We got some rust. We got some new players. Still building that chemistry.
It's week 2.
Oh, yeah, it's week 2.
It's week 2.
Well,
technically week 1. Like we got to exhibit.
You have 10 other games to make up for it. So wouldn't say the sky is falling, but that's going to be the reaction from that game. If they were to lose by that much, I mean, it would sound the alarms, get Steve Sarkisian out of here. Like that would be the sentiment.
Well, I mean,
that.
like I just remember the reaction that was had about Arch Manning last year after the first week of Arch Manning needs to be benched. He's not a good quarterback. And obviously the following weeks were trying for him, but he closed it out strong, I feel like. So I'll be interested to see how quickly the world jumps off the Steve Sarkisian wagon.
What if we get another Fernando Mendoza this season? And what I mean by that is just an out-of-nowhere first overall pick.
That's one of my what-ifs.
Like, what if it happens again? Because, like, similar to last year, people sat here and were like, it's going to be Lenore Sellers, or it's going to be Dante Moore, or, like, people were doing those things. Like, they thought for sure it was going to be one of those guys. And then ultimately didn't become that because guys either stayed in college or they didn't play up to their ultimate potential. Who's to say it doesn't happen again this year? And better question, who would it be? Like, who would be a candidate for this?
Drew Mestamaker? Does
that
count?
Somewhat. I think that people would.
Darian Mensah? Does that count?
Yeah, I couldn't
I
find
watched
one.
that today. My God, that guy's good. That guy is good. Watch out.
I don't know if there's one of Fernando's caliber yet. I say that yet because I think that there's 2 prongs to this. Like, had Fernando Mendoza put up the numbers that he did last year at a team that did not make the playoff, he's probably not the first overall pick. But the fact that he put on those performances in a national title game, in the college football playoff, and was as efficient as he was part of one of the greatest stories in college football history. That certainly played up to it. I don't know that there's like one of Fernando's caliber in this transfer class that went to someone that I think is a contender this year.
Yeah, it's Fernando Mendoza was a very specific situation. But to answer your question, because the what if for me was like, what if neither Arch, Dante, Drew Messmaker, or CJ Carr at QB1 this year? I think that's a possibility. I think that basically just means that like a John Mateer balled out.
Here we go. This is what it would be. DJ Lagway. DJ Lagway has the resurgence of his career with the Baylor Bears. Throws for 4,000 yards, solves a turnover problem, just looks absolutely magnificent in the offense. And
so now we officially have to start an HR department to get you drug tested. That's what we have to do.
I said out of nowhere.
Anybody want to volunteer? Anybody got
out
HR
of nowhere.
background?
That would be out of nowhere.
I think it is worth noting. Like if that the real answer is probably if that happens, CJ Bailey plays that good and is that solid of a platform.
He's got another year, doesn't he? CJ Bailey's got one more year, doesn't he?
He's draft eligible.
No, he's set under Grayson McCall.
Okay.
Remember?
Okay.
Because Grayson McCall retired from football
That's
8
right.
games in.
That's right. Okay.
And then CJ Bailey played 3, started all year last year, and is going to start.
I guess that would be the answer then,
Yeah.
but that guy's kind of already on the radar. Don't get me drug tested. I just say that'd be an out of nowhere situation.
What if Indiana does it again? What does, and really why I asked this question is, what does Sig have to do, and how quickly does he have to do it to enter? This might be the greatest, one of the greatest, if not the greatest college football coach of all time. I don't think he'll never catch Saban because he doesn't have the time. All right. And I think the other thing about this storyline is so interesting. It's been talked about ad nauseum at this point, but this guy's 65 years old. Mm-hmm. I think we have to do something about how we select coaches and figure out what a good coach is. If this guy had to go to the lengths that he did to get his first time Power 4 job at 62 years old and do what he is doing right now. Like we got to recalibrate everything based off what this guy is doing, because it shouldn't take that long to identify a coaching talent this supreme. And he did it multiple times over. He did it at IPU. He did it at Elon. He turned around and did it at JMU. And now he's doing it in Indiana. And it took forever. Nobody was even giving him a job. He had to take the IPU job. That's where his dad coached. I don't even think I'm saying that school right. He had to go coach a NAIA school, D3 school, where his dad coached ball just to get an opportunity to be a head football coach in his early 50s, mid 50s. Like, we're doing something wrong in these coaching circuits and searches. The idea that this dude had to go to the lengths that he did to become what he is, and he's been this basically the entire time he's been a head football coach. We got to figure out how to recalibrate the systems if one of our best football coaches of all time had to wait until he's 62 to get a crack at it at the Power 4 level.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly would suggest there's something wrong with the system. I would say that the system for evaluating and selecting...
IUP, my apologizes.
The system for evaluating and selecting quality head coaches is not really bulletproof anyways. Like, we see coaching hires fail more often than not. So I think it would certainly placate to the idea that, yeah, hiring the right head football coach is a really hard thing to do. And frankly, I don't think he needs to win another title for that to be taking place, of saying, we just found a guy that was essentially on the G5 rubble winning over there that we hired over here. Is now 60 years old. So yeah, I mean, like, he certainly plays into the overall sentiment that hiring the right coach is something that's pretty hard to do. We see teams fail at it all the time, and you rarely see teams succeed at it continuously. I think it's why programs like Ohio State are so revered. I think it's why Georgia is one of the top programs in the country because, you know, say what you want about what they've done, they've had the same two head coaches over the last 25 years, and they've won at really solid rates. So I think that's what it speaks to more than anything, of how hard it is to make the right hire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's probably just a lot of people that looked at Cignetti's like track record and was like, we're too good for something like that. Like, we're too good of a program to try and take a stab at that. Indiana was, I mean, in the dumps, as they usually are, and they were like, nobody's too good for us probably, and good on them for, I mean, hitting an absolute home run grand slam hire.
And I also think that sentiment undermines what Curt Cignetti's done, where the idea of like, yeah, there's more Curt Cignettis out there that are just, the process is so flawed that the next Curt Cignetti's somewhere in the G5 right now. We just got to go find him. Like, I think Curt Cignetti is one of one. That makes him so special. So I don't know if the entire process needs to be tipped on its head because of one guy. I think it more just speaks to how special that one guy is. Like, if everyone goes out and is like, we have to find the next Curt Cignetti, or we have to find the next LeBron or the next Michael Jordan, you're going to consistently fail at that.
That's a good point.
What if Lincoln Riley is just another Brian Kelly?
Ooh.
I was trying to think of the perfect analogy for this, and I think it is Brian Kelly, because Brian Kelly was at a great job in Notre Dame, was having success, borderline playoff team, made a national championship, like, just never could actually get a title. And Lincoln Riley had plenty of shots at getting a national title at Oklahoma, was at a great position, had a great job, a school that he knew was about to enter one of the premier conferences in college football, and decided to leave it for a job that he thought was better. Brian Kelly left a job at Notre Dame for a job that he thought was better at LSU, and just absolutely crapped the bed. Lincoln Riley kind of crapping the bed right now at USC.
Interesting.
I got distracted by your Westbrook take.
He retired today.
Oh. I thought that guy was never going to retire.
I know.
No, he retired.
Huh.
But to your point, like, I've never considered Lincoln Riley or like in Brian, because their personalities are so different. But you're right. Like, it is an example of two guys that felt like they were going to greener pastures and flamed out eventually. I think Lincoln Riley was more of a, I don't want this SEC smoke, so I'm going to go ahead and
I'm going to go get that Big Ten smoke.
well, I'm going to go get the Pac-12 smoke, and then, we're going to the Big Ten now.
Oops. Didn't dodge it at all.
No. So I think that kind of was where Lincoln Riley's. But you're absolutely right. Like, he had a really good thing going, and he kind of left it for what many believe was better, what he called the dream job. He burnt a bridge, and now it's probably not going to result in a successful tenure.
Yeah.
Like, the likelihood that Lincoln Riley's fired in the next 3 years versus competing for national championships is much more on the line.
Yeah, the only difference I would say is Lincoln Riley probably not going to be commentating on college football games when he's ultimately done at USC. That dude would get a job somewhere else.
All of his media availability stuff is electric.
Yeah, but like you're telling me that Lincoln Riley's available, at the very least, someone's not giving him an OC job. At the very least,
yeah, that's true.
This makes me bring up a new "What If" Wednesday question that I just had. What if Lane Kiffin is Brian Kelly?
Could be.
Because, I mean, we're talking about a guy that is revered as a top
And I
coach.
almost did this one. That's who I almost compared him to.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, we're talking about a guy that's revered as one of these top coaches and has consistently left for greener pastures and has yet to have the ultimate success. Like, there really isn't a greener pasture than LSU right now. This is either going to go really well or really bad.
The only reason why I changed it to Brian Kelly is because I do feel like Lane Kiffin upgraded his job. Like, I do think that LSU is a better job than Ole Miss, despite what Ole Miss fans want to say.
Duck.
Like, I know, I understand what I'm saying, and like it's just reality though. Like, I do think that LSU is a better job, so that's why I pivoted to Brian Kelly for the Lincoln Riley comp.
What if a 9-3 G5 team makes the playoffs?
Didn't that happen last year?
No, 10-2 Tulane.
Okay.
They had a conference loss and an Ole Miss drumming.
I mean, if a 9-3 G5 team makes the playoffs, I think that will be the nail in the coffin of this is not working. This caveat that we have in the playoff system has to stop. It's a joke. We're wasting a playoff position. I understand that undefeated UCF had a really, really good argument for being it. I understand that Cincinnati in 2020 had a really good argument for making the college football playoff. That does not mean we need to shoehorn a G5 team in just because we can say we did. I think there needs to be better evaluations for G5 teams that do go undefeated and have these, records that would say so. I think Boise State making the playoff in 2024 was fine. I didn't have issues with it. The seeding is another thing. But if a 9-3 team makes the playoff, we have to change the system.
I also think the more I get acclimated with G5 football teams, the more I realize the massive difference between what the caliber of football played in the American Conference right now and the caliber of football played in the SoCon, played in the Sun Belt, played in the Mountain West. Like, they are not the same. The American Conference, and for my money, is way better than every other mid-major conference that we have. And I hate doing the it's not even close, but it's kind of not. It's not really close right about now. That conference is way superior to every other conference. They beat each other up. So that's why I think we're going to get what we get. Like, there might be a 9-3 Navy to come out of the American Conference and go 10-3 because they win their conference championship game and get into the college football playoff.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why the Big 12 went searching for teams in the American Conference to add to their conference. Like, that's who they went looking for, and that's where they poached from. I mean, there's really good football played out there. I don't know if our resident FSU fan in the chat, Bowden's flip phone, is in here, but boy, I hope you are, because I'm about to lob this one up for you. What if we are writing FSU off too much? I know it's so easy to look at the recent past for them, what they have on the roster, and just say, we're just waiting for the day that Mike Norvell is fired. This year you can chalk it up as 4-8 or whatever you want to call it. I think there's more intriguing pieces on that team than you think, though. Like, when I'd read you these names, like Quintravian Wisner, Ousmane Cromar. I don't know. Cromar, okay.
0-2. Not bad, though.
I'm just going to stop talking, to be honest, because this channel is going to criticize how I'm saying names right now. Ashton Daniels, Deuce Robinson, Kevin Wynn. I think there's more intriguing players on that team, and there's a little bit more to believe in at Florida State than maybe what we give them credit for. And that's not me saying that they're a sleeper college football playoff team. That's not me saying that they're going to be the third best team or the fourth best team in the ACC. But maybe they're not as abysmal as they're making them up to be.
Yeah, no, I mean, there is certainly a world where we are kind of laughing at the last two seasons of Florida State and just going, whatever, this is a dumpster fire, Mike Norvell's toast. And you're right, there's a lot of interesting pieces on that. I think the problem I run into is, there's a lot of interesting pieces, but there's also a lot of very losable games. Alabama, Miami. I think Clemson is a team that's better than them. Florida at the end of the season. That's 4 losses right there. We're not even mentioning teams that might potentially be coin flips, like SMU, like Louisville. Pittsburgh's not a slouch. NC State's got a good quarterback. Like, there is a world where we look up and it's like, hey, 8-4. That's actually a pretty good year at Florida State. There's also a world where we go, oh yeah, 4-8.
And maybe it ends up looking like maybe the end result is 5-7 or 4-8, but maybe it isn't quite as bad as you think it is.
That's fair. I completely agree
because
with
of that schedule.
I got one more.
I have one more as well.
What if Ahmad Hardy misses the first 2 months of the season? Very plausible, considering what happened this offseason. Have you seen the schedule for Missouri?
It's a pretty front-loaded schedule. For
Arkansas, Pine Bluff, at Kansas, Troy. Okay. Then we start the meat. At Mississippi State, Florida, Texas A&M, at Ole Miss. Let's say he comes back on Halloween against Arkansas. Mm-hmm. Are they staring 7-5 in the face?
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, Missouri is one of these teams I kind of expect them to take a little bit of a step back this
I got to
year.
be honest with you. I think if the tragedy that happened to Ahmad Hardy doesn't happen, there's still a world where they're staring 7-5, 8-4 in the face. I'm not buying Missouri. And
Yeah, hard to give Ahmad Hardy 29 totes when you're down 14 in the third.
correct. Like, I think Ahmad Hardy's great. I think what happened to him is devastating and unfortunate. I wish him a speedy recovery. I don't think Ahmad Hardy was what was going to keep this team from going 7-5, as great of a running back as he is. Like, a dynamic running back is just...
Oof. This schedule.
Yeah.
Florida A&M, at Ole Miss, at Arkansas, Texas, at Georgia, Kentucky, Oklahoma.
It's tough. Mm-hmm. It's tough.
Ouchie.
What if Notre Dame finishes the regular season 10-2, but they beat Miami?
Oh, dude, what? So who are they going to lose
Run that by
to?
me one more time.
What if Notre Dame finishes the regular season 10-2, but they beat Miami?
So they lose to Miami, or they beat Miami, lose to BYU?
Yeah, and then take your pick with another unranked team. Because it's happened before.
SMU's on that schedule. They're not a pushover.
No, they beat Miami last year.
That'd be really conflicting again for them, though. That'd be a really conflicting.
Is that enough to, because they got the signature win, they got their top 5, top 10, wherever Miami's going to be, they're a top 10 team when they beat them. You have 2 losses, though you're 10-2, and you're not going to have a conversation.
If that happens,
The answer is Shane Gillis cancels season 4 of Tires because he just can't do it.
Oh,
Mentally cannot prepare to do
comes
it.
out tomorrow. I'm excited.
Notre Dame fans would have to turn into the biggest Miami fans there is, because like you would have to root for Miami to end up being one of the top 4 teams in college football to make that loss or that win look that much better.
Is that the final straw for that? Fine, we'll join a conference.
No, I don't think it'll be a final straw for them in that regard.
I don't think there is one.
Yeah.
If last year didn't make them want to join a conference, it just will never happen for them.
Yeah.
I think they ride this out, especially with the memorandum of understanding having been signed. They're good. Okay. And if Save College Sports Act, if it actually passes, which I don't think it's gonna, but if we ever get to a point where they start to like basically finalize these conferences for eternity, then no, they'll never get into a conference. They don't feel the need to. So
Valid.
They just won't. Mm-hmm. Again, I keep telling everybody, they could have been in the Mountain West last year and gotten a top 6 seed in the college football playoff.
Mm-hmm.
But since they weren't, they got left at home and skipped out on the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Now we should probably hit the topic that is the thumbnail before that.
We definitely
hour,
should.
The hour
That's on
ends.
me. Now or never, players or coaches. This was eventually going to be players only, but we're going coaches. It's now or never for DJ Lagway. If you're still a turnover machine out of the straitjacket, you just might be a turnover machine the rest of your life.
It's now or never to be the first overall pick, DJ Lagway. Now or never.
Certainly.
Bring the HR department. Bring the HR department. It's now or never for Damon Wilson as well, from a standpoint of, well, if you're not going to play hard on first and second down for Jason Taylor in Miami and Mario Cristobal, then you're just a designated pass rusher the rest of your career. So, and there's a role for that in the NFL. You're just not going to make $100 million. So it's now or never to decide whether or not we can actually play the run and play it tough.
I'd say it's now or never for Nick Harbor. I feel like we've been waiting and waiting and waiting for him to be the star player to match the prospect that he was. I think Nick Harbor is kind of like, this is the season. If you're going to do it, you got to do it now.
Nick Harbor is Kyle Pitts. Nick Harbor is the guy where this time of year, it's Nick Harbor is a demon. Let me list off all the measurables of this guy. He is Kyle Pitts in the NFL version of Kyle Pitts, where it's like, this is the year where he just absolutely breaks out.
I like it.
Honest to God, dude should have just been a defensive end. If you remember his high school profile, it was, are you going to run track? Are you going to play wide receiver? Or are you going to be an edge rusher? The edge rushing tape was far more promising considering what he's grown into physically than anything he can do at wide receiver. Build speed guys at that size will never work. They won't work on the NFL level. That's for dang sure.
No.
Like, you're just not, the separation will not be created, and nobody is scared of you.
Nope.
So even though you can run really fast, 20 yards to 60 yards, cool, you're still not getting open. So that to me is the problem there. I think to me, I've already written it off. It's a never.
Probably more so had to do with South Carolina probably have a bigger need at wide receiver than edge, maybe.
No, I think it probably had more to do with the fact that he wanted to play wide receiver.
Okay. That too.
If he goes to Ohio State, which I think it was South Carolina, Ohio State, and maybe Georgia in the mix there.
I think Georgia was in the mix.
I think if he goes to the other two schools, he's an edge rusher, and he's probably a first-round draft pick after 3 years of development.
It's now or never for Austin Mack. He's a senior. It's now or like if you are going to play for Kalen DeBoer, the guy that you have believed in, the guy that you have remained loyal to, if that is the guy who you're going to play for, if you want to play Power 4 football probably and start at a Power 4 school, it's now or never this year, because if it ain't this year, probably transferring somewhere else, maybe to the American Conference or something like that, and getting a starting job there.
I like that one. It's now or never for John Mateer. Not in the sense of being a good quarterback, but if you're not going to fix the things that need to be fixed, lower body mechanics getting out of whack, making rash decisions, spraying it occasionally, it's not going to get fixed. If you don't fix it this year, it's probably not going to get fixed down the road, and that's just going to be the player you're going to be. So now or never for John Mateer.
Look, I'm a believer in this next cat, all right? Probably one of the last ones holding as much stock as I am. Everybody else thinks he sucks, and he's only listed as one of the good quarterbacks because of his last name. But if Arch Manning doesn't learn how to layer the football and actually play with some touch and finesse, then there is going to be a glaring hole about him going into the NFL process. Because all the stuff 25 and out, when he gets to really rip the football, he's great. He's tremendously accurate. But he still lacks a lot of touch and finesse at the position, and that does worry me.
It's now or never for Austin Simmons, I think, as well. I would put him in the same category. Not in the same category as Austin Mack, two different situations, but looked like we were just going to run away with a starting job at Ole Miss. Got off to a really rocky start at the beginning of the year. We ended up getting pulled and never see a starting spot ever again that year. Now we're at Missouri. It's a very winnable job for you, but if it doesn't work out here, I just don't know if it ever will.
Agreed. It is now or never for Dabo Swinney to pull the nose up on this thing. He was a great coach in the latter years of the 10s. We all know he's won 2 national titles. Clemson was a premier program for a long time, but it has nosedived significantly. And if you can't make some progress this year, I don't think you ever will, and I think you will just flame out there. So it's now or never.
I'll stick with Clemson. It's now or never early on in the season for Christopher Vizina, because that fan base is itching to play Tate Reynolds, the freshman quarterback. And I think even Dabo might be itching a little bit to play him because he's got all the Clemson quarterback traits, all of them. He's tough. He's gritty. He can run the ball. He's a football player. Yeah, Tate Reynolds is knocking on that door. It's now or never for Christopher Vizina.
Is it too? And you can tell me to shut up on this one if you want me to. Is it okay to say it's an now or never season for Justice Terry?
No.
I don't think that's crazy.
Not considering what they paid him.
We're talking about one of the best players in the country coming out of high school, one of the highest paid players at his position, I would imagine, in college football, and saw a little bit of playing time last year for Texas. Certainly wouldn't say that he showed what he was being paid to be his first year, and that's okay. But year 2, I think it's got to be pretty special. I think it's got to be like, this is exactly what we thought Justice Terry was going to be. And if it doesn't happen this year, I don't see any reason why to say it'll happen in year 3.
I don't think it's crazy to say it's now or never for him to be worth the investment. I do think there is a world where year 3 you put it together and you become the player. But if you don't shine in year 2, you're not worth what they paid you. It's now or never for USC. And I get that it's a premier program and we've seen at the peak it's one of the best in college football. we're talking about 20 years ago. Like,
Can I tilt that a little bit? It's now or never for Lincoln.
Sure. I think it's also
I
now.
think they're going to be fine even if they fire him.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that if you don't at least show some progress here, you're going to get relegated to one of these programs where, yeah, they were relevant 20 years ago, but college football changed and they were unable to make the right hires to keep up with it. Like, what if Lincoln Riley does end up getting fired? What is going to be exciting about USC 3 years from now, other than the fact that it's a big hub, it's in California, there's a lot, like, that state has gotten so picked over, and you've got Dan Lanning up north now, and people are picking, like, I don't think USC is anywhere near the job it was 10 years ago. It's certainly not what it was 20 years ago. I don't think if they can show any progress, I think it's going to continue to become more relevant.
Do you think if Lincoln Riley ultimately does fail at USC, it deters coaches from making the same choice he did?
Maybe not the same choice. I don't know if there's a top 12, like coach at a top 12 program like Oklahoma was when he was there, that up and leaves their current home to go
And
there.
that's what I'm talking about.
I don't think that happens, but they'll hire someone who is the quote-unquote next hot coach.
Yeah. And
Hell, I could even see like an NFL offensive coordinator coming back down to college football to take that job.
Right.
I could see that happening.
I was saying the scenario of like prying away one of the top coaches in the sport at this time away from their job to go to USC. Yeah, I don't think it would happen again.
I don't think USC does that anymore.
It's now or never for Steve Sarkisian to win big.
Yep.
Was waiting on that one.
That window slams after this year.
Sure does.
Lose so many great football players. They've recruited at a really, really high rate, but we're going to lose a ton of talent and a ton of elite football players after this year. It's not now or never this year, but it's this job or you won't do it for Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, absolutely right.
If you can't win there, you just won't win.
It's here or never.
Here or never. If you can't win at that job, you won't win.
Completely agree with that one.
We good?
Yep.
We're good.
See you on the other side. We got a whole nother hour of content. This is our local hour.
Welcome into Talk the Dog, the show where we find a bone to pick and a take to give. These are not hot takes. These is dog takes. Can I talk that dog? What's up? You really like that? Let's shut up and grab some tape.
Deion Sanders is going to coach Texas if Sark can't get it done. HR department, him too. Add him to the list of people who need to be tested. Just throw him on the list. J. Will and my man Pope Bandit, or whatever my man's name is.
Sir Pope 9203.
Sir Pope 9203. Drug test him right now, today, tomorrow. Do it. Get it done. I got to see that. He's going to melt the cup. Welcome into our local hour, or as I like to call it today, the Christian Kirby Hour. Today is the Christian Kirby Hour because my man is about to ISO ball for 36 minutes. The gall, the absolute unmitigated gall to text our producers chat today and be like, hey, I got it. 6 minutes for 6 coaches, 36 minutes, all me.
Well,
I'm excited. I know I just let it up like I'm not, but I'm excited. Good luck.
Jay, do you have your phone on you?
I do.
Would you mind keeping track of each time on this? So today was a presser day at Butts-Mehre and the University of Georgia, where typically they give us a few coaches, and we've all been to Georgia football press conferences. It's very much, we're running a bit late. You get probably 10 minutes or so, and so you might get 5 minutes of Coach Smart. Very, very minuscule. Now, we got 6 coaches today. 6 coaches, 15 minutes, all of them. We were there for an hour and a half just interviewing coaches. So I have a lot of notes from these guys, so I figured
Who won the day? Let's start there.
I'm going to give it to T-Rob. I think T-Rob had the most laughs. I think, as always, Todd Hartley brings the juice. It's what he's known for. And maybe that's why T-Rob got it, because everyone was expecting so much from Todd Hartley. But 17 minutes of 6 coaches, there is a lot to take in here. So what I'm going to do is for each coach spend 6 minutes basically just recapping all that was said for them, talk about certain things, and do that. So, Jay, if you would not mind setting a timer for me and letting me know when we get to 6 minutes. First coach, starting now.
Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, rate, review.
Whoa. Got to reset.
Starting now. The first coach that we got was Coach Mike Bobo, the offensive coordinator for the University of Georgia, who was sporting, might I add, a very stylish mustache, was the talk of the town, per se. First key question that was asked to Mike Bobo was, hey, what are the keys to being more explosive this season? We need some more explosive. That was the offseason talk. That was the one crux for last year, like, hey, this offense is not explosive enough. And he mentioned that in order to do that, you have to identify playmakers and make plays, but it also comes down to protection and execution. There were a lot of examples last year where we have an explosive drawn up for us. It's going to hit, but Gunnar Stockton's getting flushed out of the pocket, or Gunnar Stockton has to check it down because he's got someone in his face, or we just flat out don't execute it. So that was a major thing that he hit on of, hey, here's how we're going to get more explosions. He also said that the young quarterback has to get better, kind of put it on Gunnar Stockton's shoulders, and that was a theme of his press conference of, hey, we really pressured him to develop and grow in a certain way. The next question was, this is interesting. He recognizes someone in the presser who he knows. I guess he coached for. I couldn't tell who it was, but I think this really speaks to who Mike Bobo is as a person. He recognizes that person, smiles, says, oh, what's up, man? As soon as the press conference ends, immediately goes over there, gives him a big hug to the point where, like, Leland has to kind of usher him out because, like, hey, we got to bring the next coach in. So Mike Bobo, say what you want about him, has been very good at building relationships.
Pause the clock, Jonathan. I saw Bobo on the trail this spring, and I think I talked about this in one of our local hours. I get it. Not that I hadn't, but I get why this guy has been around college football for 35 years and will always seemingly have a job. So immensely likable in the football world.
Yeah.
This is a football coach's coach. They love this guy.
Oh, God, yeah.
He is so likable to other men in the profession, and I get it. I get it why he will always have a job. As long as he wants to, he will coach football.
And it makes sense, too. Like, even if you didn't know Mike Bobo at all or ever seen his interactions on the recruiting trail with other people before, I think it should all make sense considering his ability to recruit quarterbacks. Like, I know that they haven't necessarily landed every single prospect, but I mean, it shouldn't be any, like, it should make sense why consistently Georgia has been in the mix over the last few years for one of the top quarterbacks in the country. And what have they all said so far? Mike Bobo. Like, Mike Bobo, I have a great relationship with him. I really like that guy. I think he knows what he's doing. And, like, they always talk about their relationship with Mike Bobo. And it makes sense because you're a quarterback, he's the OC, but I don't think that's a coincidence.
Joe, will you please resume the clock for me? The next question was, and this was the one, of course, everyone's worried about. It was kind of voiced in a interesting way of, hey, Coach Bobo, you got a lot of talent this year. You know, you open the schedule with, two perhaps lesser thans. Are we going to see a lot of quarterbacks behind Gunnar Stockton getting some action? Kind of trying to get a hint or a crumb of who's QB2 here. And, of course, he gives the perfect answer as a coach would. Yeah, I was like, we've got a lot of scrimmages going on right now. We've got two really good options here, a lot of really good quarterbacks in the room. We're going to see what they can do in the scrimmages and see what we can do then. Doesn't really mention any specific names, but if you're wondering if Georgia's going to name a quarterback 2 or Mike Bobo dropped a hint, he did not, so keep wondering. After that, there was a question from Anthony Dasher of, Gunnar Stockton was encouraged a lot to be more aggressive last year. Let it rip more, let it fly. He wanted to know, how do you walk the line of being an aggressive quarterback while also not making turnover-worthy plays? Because we've seen the examples of, you're forcing passes there. I think Carson Beck was the epitome of that in 2024. And he gives a very interesting answer. Says it's important to know what you can and can't do. And he retells this story of an example of Josh Allen running around, scrambling, keeping his eye downfield, making an incredible cross-body throw. And he says that we were in the quarterback room watching that, and he looked to all of his players and said, don't overestimate your abilities. None of you are Josh Allen. None of you can do this play. So an interesting way to encourage players to be more aggressive, but also to kind of make sure that you're walking that line of let it rip, be comfortable with what you are capable of doing. Thought that was interesting. The next question was about the mustache of, hey, are you keeping the mustache after fall camp?
I mustache you a question.
It was Connor Riley who asked it, who also has a mustache right now.
So there were 3 mustaches in the room?
At least 3. There might have been 4. I couldn't see all of them. Are we counting Dasher as a stash?
I would say so.
So there were 5 mustaches in the room then.
Anthony Stasher? All right, I'm done.
Oh, man. What a hit. But yeah,
I'm just mute his mic real quick.
basically gives an update of, Yeah, the quarterbacks started doing this ahead of fall camp. His son, Jake, had let him like, hey, we're doing this. He mentioned that he had been on vacation prior to fall camp beginning, so he had grown a beard. So he eventually just shaved it into a mustache, but he does not think that this will be a long-lasting thing, which my takeaway from this is when coaches go on break and coaches go on vacation, they just throw their razors away. Because we've heard rumors about Kirby also letting the beard grow out.
Well, I've seen him.
I've yet to see it.
I've seen him. Doesn't look like him.
Is it a good beard?
No. No.
Dang. All right. Next question. And I think this gave some of the best insight of the day, and I think it's the one we'll probably end it on. Someone asked him about, like, hey, how hard does it make your offense, or is there a requirement in college football to have the guy? And he lists, like, the last 4 years, you've had a guy where you go to when the chips are down. Last year, obviously, it was Zachariah Branch. For 3 years before that, it was Brock Bowers. Do you need someone to step up this year and be that guy? Because there doesn't really seem to be an obvious one on the roster right now. And Mike Bobo's answer was basically, if you have multiple viable threats, you're not going to need to rely on one player because all the attention is going to have to be dispersed evenly. Whereas last year, yeah, Zachariah Branch was the guy, but Zachariah Branch also garnered a lot of attention. And he mentioned something interesting of the last 2 or 3 years, we've had young quarterbacks. We've had guys where, Carson was in his first year starting. Mm-hmm. Having a guy like Brock Bowers made it so easy for them because it was just, I'm in my first year starting. Here's the greatest tight end of all time. Gunnar Stockton, I'm in my first year starting. Here is Zachariah Branch, one of the most dynamic slot receivers in college football right now. So I feel like that paints an interesting picture of maybe having the guy is more of a dynamic of we need a playmaker for our quarterback as opposed to that.
Pause the tape. Did y'all see this tweet about NFL rookies and what they spent their first bonus check on?
No.
It's Zachariah Branch related. That's why I'm talking about this.
Okay.
Okay.
This man is just scrolling social media.
No. I had to go find this because this is hysterical to me. All right, some answers here. Golf clubs, a house in Texas, a mattress, sent money to my father, a Rolex, a trip to Miami, a Star Wars Lego set.
Valid.
Caleb Banks said tarantulas and snakes.
Yeah, HR department. That's the guy.
I'm going to check up on that guy.
Who is he? Buzz from Home Alone?
It's Zachariah Branch, S&P 500.
Good. That's the smart answer, Zachariah.
All right, you can return to the clock. Sorry, I just had to get that off my chest.
I believe that was the last question we had for Mike Bobo. What are we at time-wise,
15 seconds short. You got to make it up somewhere else.
All right. Well, moving on to our next coach, we got the strength and conditioning coach, Scott Sinclair, which I think this was the first time I've ever seen him in front of It's certainly the first time I've seen him in person in front of the podium. Man, this guy, you understand why he is the strength and conditioning coach. He had juice, but he was contained juice. Someone who it's like they're not showing it right now, but it's there.
Did he talk about shoot to eat?
No, he did not.
He's doing this thing. He's like a Cam Haynes guy now. Mm-hmm. He shoots bow and arrows in his front yard.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's getting big into archery.
He was, I believe, the only coach to come out and actually say, I actually do have an opening statement, Leland, and opens up with thanking everyone on his staff. And he goes like by names of like all the people that helped him, the team, all that stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool. Spent a good bit of time just giving shouts to certainly the people that you and I know about, but the casual fan does not know about. The next thing, apparently there was an article released on ESPN or somewhere about top freaks in college football.
It's Bruce Feldman from The Athletic. He does it every year.
Okay. He was asked about, who are the freaks on this year's team?
Shout out Mark Weiser.
Do we have any guesses, unless you both know the answer? Have you seen this part?
Mm-mm.
Do we have any guesses who the two freaks were? That
I
Scott
did see
Sinclair
this, so I'm gonna back out on this.
Let's go Jaden Riddell and Jaden Riddell.
All right,
that's all I got.
The two answers were Elijah Griffin, solid, and this one made me literally look up from my laptop and go, London Humphreys.
And he said
what are you doing there?
The funny part is the quote read, at least to me, like this. It was, obviously it's Elijah Griffin and London Humphreys. Like as if it was, that's what everybody should be expecting him to say of like, yeah, it's Elijah Griffin, the former 5-star, and London Humphreys.
It made like London Humphreys, fire, passion, energy, incredible work ethic. I don't know if I would look at that and go, genetic freak. So no disrespect.
What does Elijah Griffin just squat a brick house? Like, well, did he give us numbers or just say he's a freak?
He did not give us numbers.
Okay.
He did reveal something interesting that I'll get into later. Top freaks of the Kirby Smart era was the follow-up question. Nick Chubb, obviously, and Ben Cleveland was a really, really strong player at the time. Two players that you go, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Talking about numbers, he mentioned that 1 rep maxing is not really a common thing that is done anymore. Based on all the science and everything that they found, it's not necessarily conducive to. So he says we go up to 90%, 92% in clean maxes for 3 rep maxes. So there's a completely new way. So the 1 rep max is kind of an inadequate way to strength train, according to Scott Sinclair. So if you're a high school coach listening, or if you're a college coach that's trying to get some tips, according to Scott Sinclair, University of Georgia, 1 rep maxing not as conducive as it once was. Was then asked about, hey, what do the skull sessions do? Obviously, they build the team, but how does it help in the weight room? And Scott Sinclair goes into a really good speech about how knowing the why obviously helps build a team. It builds you closer. But when you are built to be closer, you get to have a better opportunity to push someone. It's really hard to yell at someone and to shout at them and to do all the things that Georgia football coaches do and have it work if they don't understand your why and you don't understand theirs. So it seems like these skull sessions have been a massive success. The Olympics thing that they did a few days ago obviously was really, really cool. I think that's something that they're going to continue to do. Continuing, the science has changed the training. This will be interesting. 110s are not necessarily something that's done as much anymore because according to that, a 110 is something that's not necessarily conducive for certain position groups. For example, wide receivers, running backs, skill players, yeah, we're going to have 110s testing. Offensive linemen, there is never a world where you're going to need to sprint more than 50 yards. And if there is, something has gone catastrophically wrong. So it depends more on the position. Offensive linemen are much more short distance, shorter breaks, more explosive plays. So it makes sense, and it's based on the science.
You know what the key to the good 110 is?
What's that?
Hot 50 start.
Yeah, I mean, you coast.
And then you stride that thing out after the 50s. Our conditioning test my last year of college football was 16 110s. Under 18 seconds for the big fellas, 45-second breaks in between. And you want to talk about feeling like your heart's about to explode? I only passed it once. I did it. We ran it 7 times in summer workouts, and I passed it the last time.
Makes sense. They're not fun.
At 300 pounds. I'm him. Go ahead.
Was next brought to question of how is Gunnar Stockton's body change? There's obviously been some photos swirling around online about, man, Gunnar's been really hitting the weights hard. Some of them are fake, some of them are real. But it is obvious that Gunnar Stockton has really prioritized working on his body this year. So Coach Sinclair also added, they've created a plan for him, and they're trying to actually get an extra day of lifting in for him as opposed to what they were last year because they want to help him be able to maintain what he built. I think Gunnar Stockton revealed this at SEC Media Days where he lost a lot of weight during the season because it's just impossible to lift and to eat in the way you do in the offseason when you're playing football games. So it makes sense. So they've got a program that they think is going to help him create and maintain what he's gained. Next question, and this is probably the most important question, is how do you continue to make sure a team is at their best in January, especially when these seasons are getting longer and longer? A football team that beats itself down, and he used the word that I think no one wants to hear in college football, load management. Now, I don't think it's pretending to, hey, we're going to bench so-and-so on Saturdays for load management purposes. However, load management was brought up. Lifting season changes drastically. There's some weeks where they go really hard. There's some weeks where they take off. They've got an entire system based around that. What am I at time-wise, Jay Will?
You're at 5 minutes and 40 seconds.
Final question he answered was, he is a pro wrestling fan. He said that if I was not doing this, I would be a pro wrestler. And he talked about how his Christmas present was getting to see Ric Flair win the 13th belt for the time, win his 13th championship. I believe it was in Charlotte. So huge pro wrestling fan from Scott.
Nobody asked him questions about his hunting videos? Like him just ripping a bow every morning? Nobody asked him about that?
Not brought up.
Badass.
Got to shoot to eat.
That's right.
Got to shoot to eat.
The next coach that we have is Georgia Bulldogs defensive coordinator Glenn Schumann, who...
Was he wearing the sweatsuit?
It was not a sweat. He had sweatpants on, and he had a quarter zip. So kind of a sweat outfit. He was asked about the sweat outfit, though, so we'll get to that in a sec. In fact, it was one of the first major questions that I thought was notable. He said, and this is the most Glenn Schumann answer. So it was like, hey, coach, can you kind of go into what's your rationale behind this, why you do this, what's the origin story? And he says, I do it. It makes the equipment staff's life really easy. I only have to have one pair of sweatpants and then cycle them out and just go back and forth between those two. And I think this perfectly encapsulates who Glenn Schumann is as a person. He goes, it's one less decision to make every day. Because what am I going to wear on the practice field is something that takes up so much of a coach's time. Glenn Schumann has just said, I'm streamlining this. Give me gray sweats no matter what. So that was interesting. He does say, sometimes I feel like I regret the decision, especially on the hotter days. He mentioned how sometimes he feels he's earned the right to not chase after a ball or something like that. So it's like, well, yeah, dude, you're wearing sweats right now.
I have decided 10 years from now, when I'm an offensive line coach at a high school local to you or local to us, I'm rocking full gray suits. I'm gonna sweat it out. I'm gonna be out there in pure misery.
Like an actual suit?
No, the gray sweatsuit.
Okay.
We do need to
rock
have
the full grays.
We do need coaches to bring suits back in college football. I think that's funny.
No, the last guy to do that was Al Golden, and he should not have been wearing white T-shirts on a Miami sideline. Nope. No way. PJ Fleck did it for a little while.
Yeah, PJ Fleck, I think this still wears a button down and a tie. Just throw a blazer on. I think that's cool. I like that. Next question he asked. Someone mentioned, how Raylan Wilson and Chris Cole talked about how the game feels like it's slowing down for them and what goes into that. And I think he kind of wasn't offended by the question, but wanted to correct it. He said, it's not as much the game is slowing down as it is the players are speeding up. They're recognizing things faster. They're seeing things faster. The game is always going to be fast. The game speed hasn't really changed unless there's a few nuances here and there over time. But the game gets fast. The game feels slower because the players are getting faster. So it's more of a development thing as opposed to things are just slowing down, which makes sense. And I don't think it's a harmful thing to say. This one was a question that you felt the air kind of get sucked out of the room when it was asked, because it was like, someone asked, how has your time at UG, I think it was Mark Watch, how has your time at UGA and Bama prepared you to become a head coach? And people kind of asked that, I'm like, what does that mean? And he gave an answer of...
Grass is always greener?
No, he did not give a grass is always greener. Basically, he talked about how being around Alabama, being around Nick Saban, being around Kirby Smart, University of Georgia, championship programs has allowed him to have such high-profile experiences and understand what it takes to be great into that. And he said every day is an opportunity for maturation. If you're not using every single day to get better, you are wasting the day. And he talked about how I'm more prepared for my job today than I was yesterday. And then made a joke about how, something about Alaska football. I don't remember that one exactly, but so didn't really say he's looking elsewhere, didn't really say he's not entertaining any ideas, didn't really comment on the idea of becoming a head coach one day, but did want to thank the places that he is currently. And then the final ones were basically the cookie cutter. How have you seen development from so-and-so? And then you give a coach answer of, he's doing great, but so is all the other players. You're
going to have to make up a lot of time, buddy. You're now at 3 minutes and 15 seconds that you got to make up for.
Okay. Well, that was really all Glenn Schumann gave us, because if you've been to a Glenn Schumann...
Did you get Phil Rauscher today?
We did not get Phil Rauscher. The next coach that we have is Trey Scott, the defensive line coach for the University of Georgia.
Gas money.
He did mention gas money.
Yeah.
I don't know if did you watch the presser?
No, I saw a clip about him wanting gas money from all of his draft picks.
Yeah. So the first question,
we could get you a little more than gas money, Trey.
Maybe a
shoe higher than that. Go ahead.
First question he was asked is, how is Larry Knight meshing with this program? How have things gone so far? We asked this question in the spring. It was kind of like, we don't really know yet. We're 5 practices in. He's still learning the ropes. The players are still learning the ropes. We've got a full offseason now and 5 camp practices of fall camp. He talks about how Larry Knight cares about football at Georgia because he is a Georgia product. He made jokes about how he wants to be a Georgia football player, or he wanted to play at Georgia. Mentioned that there's a lot of really good communication being done between his players. You can tell what he does is what he loves. All of the really good things that you want to hear about a coach. Schematically, it seems like it's a match made in heaven. He's bringing a lot of new wrinkles to it that might not have necessarily been overturned stones at the University of Georgia. So sounds like things are going very, very well. Was asked if anyone's taken the alpha role in the defensive line of like, hey, Has anyone really stepped up and said, I'm the guy here? I feel like last year was Christian Miller. Obviously, guys like Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter have always been that alpha role. So there's been flashes, but no one stood out. But as everyone's doing a hell of a job. I think that the flashes to me indicate that you're seeing certain players where it's like, oh, this is the guy. But then you're also seeing flashes of, he's not quite where he needs to be yet. So I think the defensive line is going to be solid this year. I think Trey Scott's comments indicate that they've got a little ways to go in growth. Was then talked about, hey, what's it like Gabe Harris coming back from his injury? I know Gabe Harris isn't necessarily someone that receives exact coaching from Trey Scott, but he did comment that Gabe Harris is a guy who will give you his everything, who will give it all. The quote that I thought was actually more interesting was, if we didn't protect Gabe from himself, he probably would have done even more damage to himself. So that's honestly a really interesting quote. He said, we love guys like that. We love guys that we have to say, and I think it goes back to the Mike Tomlin quote where it's like, I'd rather have to say whoa than sick 'em. Like, if I have to motivate you to get up and to be a guy, you're not the right player. If I have to tell you, hey, slow down, you're going to hurt yourself, that is way more better. This is where the NFL quote of the gas money comes from. He was asked about, hey, a lot of guys signing new contracts. Jordan Davis, Devontae Wyatt, Jalen Carter, all these guys making millions and millions of dollars right now. How does that help your recruiting success in college football? And he obviously mentioned it doesn't hurt. Obviously, you have guys going on and making hundreds of millions of dollars in the NFL. That does wonders for recruiting. But he feels like the players themselves and the relationships that are built through other players makes all the difference in the world. Talks about the brotherhood and friendship that's built through the recruiting process, makes these guys feel like they're at home. I think that's kind of an interesting part, and it kind of rings true with Georgia of we've always been relationships over money. Obviously, money is a major driving factor for a lot of these players, but I think the relationships are still super important to them. I'm going to take a swig of water now, Jayla, so please pause the timer.
Oh, okay. I won't.
Bro needs to stay hydrated. It's such a hard thing to ISO for 36 minutes.
It's hard to talk constantly for 25 minutes. Is that what you're saying?
It's not
taxing.
It's not taxing. It's just every now and then you feel it drying up. You gotta lubricate. Now, where was I? Trey Scott was very adamant on making sure you pronounce things correctly. I think someone made the grave mistake of, hey, coach, Zyke Helton was it? And he goes, it's Zakai. And repeats Zakai probably 5 or 6 times. I'm not going to put on blast who it was. If you go back and rewatch, you can probably make it out from the voice. However, he goes, it's Zakai. I want to make sure everyone gets that right. It is Zakai. He noted that he is trying to recruit Zakai Helton to play defensive line for him.
Not shocked.
He didn't mention, he's like, hey, if you want to come and run some mini drills every now and then, just come on and do that. So that he loves it as an offensive lineman, as a center, as a guard, wherever he wants to play, he is on board. But, maybe we can make you a two-way player. Said that Zakai is also not opposed to doing that. It's kind of been open and joking yeah, I'd be down for that.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you know anything about Kirby Smart, probably not happening. But
yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty safe to say if you're going to be a starting offensive lineman as a true freshman at the University of Georgia, not that Zakai Helton wouldn't be capable of playing defensive line at Georgia, I think you're going to be all right in the football world if you just stick to offensive line.
One thing, final thing he said about Zakai Helton is that, and I was kind of surprised by this, he said he is probably one of my favorite players on the team right now. Which, if you know Georgia coaches, they never reveal favorites. They never say who's doing, for Trey Scott to come out and say he's one of my favorites on the team, very impressive.
You know why he said that?
Why did he say that?
Because the dude almost played defensive line.
Someone should have talked about that just recently, Christian. About Zakai Helton almost playing defensive line. Continue.
Can you keep that open just so I can see where I'm at?
Did you literally just say that?
Trey Scott said, I'm trying to get him to play defensive line. And I wanted him to play defensive line.
Bad.
Yeah. What are you looking at over there?
Oh, I'm giving Chris Marler shit.
Yeah. No, I think it's better if you don't know.
All right, that's fine. Next question. Made sure he got Valdon's name pronunciation correct. So is everyone ready?
Sone.
Yes.
Sone.
Look at us.
It is not Sone. It is not Sony. It is Sone. Sone. So he was hitting his hand on the desk I want to make sure all the names get right. So although I think Anthony Lonnan's name was pronounced incorrectly, I think someone said Lannon. So Trey Scott, very adamant that you pronounce his players' names correctly. Then the next question, and the final one that I have for being interesting, he was asked hey, defensive lineman, big guys, typically one of the bigger players on the team. Do you like it when a defensive lineman of that size has a big personality, or do you kind of wish that they weren't necessarily something? He goes, he got the biggest smile on his face. He goes, I love it when these guys have big personalities. The quote was, I want these guys to be as eclectic as they can possibly be. The game is tough enough. If you walk around down the press, it won't work with me. Don't take away from my joy. And he talks about how I want these guys to be like, I love it when these guys are interested in classical music or art or painting or things like that. Mention how good of a program that University of Georgia has for all the educational opportunities. So it's very obvious, more so than anyone, and they all care. But Trey Scott is a guy that certainly loves his players, and more so than loves the guys, loves the men that he's coaching, and then obviously loves the players as well. He made the gas money joke when talking about the $100 million deals, but it's very obvious that Trey Scott prioritizes having relationships with these guys, and I think it's why he's been able to recruit so well.
All right, you made up some time. We're at 6 minutes and 34 seconds.
Cool.
So that was a good job. It kind of speaks, in my opinion, why Trey Scott has remained a positions coach. If he values relationships and he likes having those close relationships with players, not that you wouldn't be able to have that as a head coach or defensive coordinator, but I do think it's a bit different when you are just coaching one position group and you're just around those guys all the time. I think it kind of makes sense why he's just stayed the defensive line coach at Georgia. Not that that's a bad spot to be in by any means.
Yeah,
but
it makes like $1.1 million.
Facts.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's very obvious, like some guys want to be the overseer of everything. Some guys are control freaks. Some guys just want to have relationships.
Yeah.
All right, the fourth coach that we were given today, Todd Hartley, the tight ends coach.
This is the one I've been waiting for.
And he comes in swinging, as expected. He comes to the podium. He looks
Let
at
him know. Let him know. Tell him what he said, Kirby.
He looks at his watch and goes, I noticed we're running a little bit behind, and I think that's Glenn Schumann's fault. However, I was told that it's not Glenn. She's like, we got to make him go last. He did. He said, I'm blaming Glenn Schumann again. Now, it was not Glenn Schumann's fault, so he later apologized. He said, I'm sorry, Glenn, but I think he's the guy who needs to go last. Then, out of nowhere, spends about 25 seconds trashing the Phillies, talking about how great the Braves are playing right now. So, very obvious this is a homegrown product.
My
from Todd
tight ends
Hartley.
coach.
I mean, yeah, I love Todd Hartley. The first question he was asked was regards to Jaden Riddell's development. And it reminded me of something. He said he feels more comfortable playing the position he's in right now. I think I forgot as well. He reminded everyone he was recruited as an X. He was very much recruited as a, hey, you're bigger than everyone, you're faster than everyone, line up outside and catch the football. So he was never really meant to play a tight end position. He didn't know inline blocking. He didn't know certain route concepts like that. So I feel like it kind of makes sense as to why it's taken so long to see this blossoming from Jaden Riddell, because he was kind of a fish out of water for 2 years. So I think that kind of put really good talks into that. Getting tight ends the ball more was obviously a question of like, hey, Coach, is this something you ever talked to about Coach Bobo? Of like, hey, we need to get so-and-so the ball more. We need to get our tight ends the ball more. I think since Brock Bowers has left, the production or lack thereof in the tight end room has been a major complaint from the fan base. And Todd Hartley's answer, it's cookie cutter, but it's the right answer. He goes, we are concerned with the best scheme to help us win. If that involves us blocking for 62 straight plays, we're going to block for 62 straight plays. We are not concerned about results here in the tight end room. We are concerned about process, which it makes perfect sense. If you come out and you say, oh, we have to get X number of catches today, you're losing sight of what the ultimate goal is, which is winning games and getting better. So it's a perfect answer for what the question was.
I mean, and he can sell that, though, to players. Like, it doesn't – like, having production on the field in regards to receptions and yards isn't the only thing that'll get you into the NFL, or at least as a top 3 round pick. Yeah, Brock Bowers went in the first round because he's Brock Bowers, and he did Brock Bowers things in college football. But Oscar Delp didn't have the highest amount of production that Georgia has ever seen at a tight end position. In fact, a lot of people would say he needed the ball a whole lot more throughout his career, yet was still a 3rd round draft pick by the New Orleans Saints.
You know, Jay, well, it's actually really funny you mentioned that, because that is the very next question that was asked to Todd Hartley of like, hey, Coach, how do you get these guys to buy into that? Obviously, Georgia has a prestige when it comes to tight end, but how do you tell a prospect like, hey, you might not catch 100 balls here. You might not be a 1,000-yard tight end here at the University of Georgia. How do you get them to buy into that? And it is very much pointing to what you just pointed out. Like, Oscar Delp is a great example. He used him. He used Darnell Washington. He said, Darnell Washington is a guy who had half the production that Brock Bowers did and just got his second contract. He's having a fantastic career in the NFL. And he also mentioned the NFL still values blocking. The NFL still values being a traditional tight end. So if you're going to be a one-trick pony and you just want to catch passes, that's fine. You can get that somewhere else and you might have a successful draft slot. But if you want a long career in the NFL at playing the tight end position, if you want to be one of the greats and you want to be selected properly, come to the University of Georgia. I think everything that we've seen placates that, excluding Brock Bowers because he's a unicorn. Oscar Delp plays into that. Darnell Washington plays into that.
John Fitzpatrick Charlie
plays
Warner.
like all these guys, and those are names that he mentioned as well. Of like, hey, if you want to have a long, successful career in the NFL, I would love for there to be a study of like which room out of Georgia has had the most successful as far as 10 years ago in the NFL. Because I feel like there's guys that were playing 10 years ago at Georgia that still have NFL careers. I don't know if there's any other room you could say that in.
Mm-hmm.
Next question was, how has Gunnar Stockton changed? He's an offensive coach. He sees a lot of that. Kind of one of the more vocal coaches on the offense. How has Gunnar Stockton changed from year one to year two? And he kind of gives the joke of like, yeah, everyone kind of looks at Gunnar Stockton and sees him as like the all shucks lunch pail guy, just smiling. He even said like he smiles all the time. Like he seems very reserved. He's very quiet. He is not that. He is a leader for sure. So that was one of the things he pointed out. He also said that he's gotten more vocal, which I never felt like, correct me if I'm wrong, Jay Will, last year being vocal was a major issue for Gunnar Stockton. So for there to be another layer of, hey, he's an even more vocal leader, like I felt like he was a plenty vocal leader last year.
I mean, yes and no. I would say
I
that.
feel like the word reserved was used quite often last year for him. Lead by example type stuff.
Yeah, like the moments where I saw Gunnar being a leader, like I always think back to the Lawson Lucky moment at Tennessee where he's just like getting up in his face and telling him like getting your like I feel like there's a different version of Gunnar that you get where like I think people view leadership moments more so at practice, like being a leader every single day, making sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. I think there's a different leader in Gunnar when the lights are turned on, when it's Saturdays in the fall. I think those are two different people, just based on what I've seen. But it's clear to me too that those like it didn't take Gunnar Stockton being the starting quarterback for guys to believe in him and trust him. I mean, that was shown in the SEC championship game in 2024. I think he's just one of those guys that people attract to. Like just him being him and how he plays, that's the leadership quality that he has.
Yeah, and Todd Hartley did mention like he is always going to be a lead by example guy. Kirby Smart has touched on that. Like leading by example is what Gunnar Stockton is, so it makes sense. And I guess you're right of like seeing him on Saturdays be that vocal leader and be so in the face. And, you know, he's mad when Chauncey Bowens is limping off the field because they're going to get a 2-minute timeout for that. Stuff like that, I think, is what we see. The ins and outs of weekdays, Monday through Friday, if he's being more vocal even then, I guess that's another wrinkle that has been unlocked. Another question that, and this is where we get the Todd Hartley juice. This is where we get the good stuff. Someone had mentioned, like, hey, Coach, Lawson Lucky mentioned he's trying to get up to 245. Before the question is even stopped, he goes, you tell me when Lawson Lucky gets up to 245. Just giving him shit of like, oh, I guess Lawson Lucky has not gotten up to 245 yet. And did kind of after that follow up and say, like, you know, he's done a phenomenal job of getting stronger, being more viable at the point of attack. Mentioned that longevity and being willing to last, like conditioning was an issue they were into last year because the strength that it was requiring to play in line, he might not have necessarily had that. So that's something that they were really trying to build with him. He did say that seniors tend to be not as receptive because, you know, hey, it's my 4th year. I know what I need to do. That is not the case with Lawson Lucky. He's trying new things. He's listening to new coaching points. He's taking it all very seriously. So I think that is a good spot for Lawson Lucky. What are we at time-wise, Jay Will?
5:55.
I will take that. That rounds up to 6 minutes. The 5th coach that we had, and arguably, this is the 6th coach, is it not?
Sure.
Yeah, it is. The 6th and final coach that we have, and in my opinion, the winner of the day, the guy who I thought brought the most juice, T-Rob. Came out swinging, first of all. Leland gives a nice little joke. We saved the best for last. T-Rob gives a nice little smile, a little laugh for that. So, very good. Jeremy Johnson. Jeremy Johnson comes to the mic and goes, hey, coach, you know, you've got kind of a safety battle going on right here. Before Jeremy Johnson even figures, he goes, oh, we're starting right off the bat, huh? The entire room erupts in laughter. Like, oh, like, obviously that's the question that's going to be asked to the defensive backs coach and co-defense coordinator. What's that safety room look like? And obviously, he gives we've got a lot of good players right now. We've got a lot of good skill sets. They have a lot of talents. We're excited to see what all these guys can do. Gave no inclination as to who's got the inside track for the job, and maybe they don't know, but nevertheless, T-Rob was on it for that one. Then was asked about, hey, Tyreek Green, what is this kind of guy got for you? Very interesting, because we always talked about this. What is the thing they never do with freshmen? Cross-train, right? We don't do any of that. You have a position. You're going to stay here. You are going to be coached at this position. T-Rob goes, yeah, we're giving him a lot of different things. We're throwing a lot at him right now. The quote that he had was, we throw a lot at the wall, see what sticks, then we pick it back up and throw it back at another wall.
It's a dangerous thing to do with a boogie.
Ooh, yeah, they can get pretty sticky. But no, I mean, and it's obvious that
You didn't like that one, Jonathan?
I'm just like, your entire bit, this whole segment is just how many dad jokes can I squeeze into this?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. That's what I got going on.
But it's not surprising, because we have known for a while, like, hey, Boogie's going to play somewhere. They don't know yet, but they're training him for everything. But it's such a staunch difference of like, oh no, Malachi Starks wasn't training at corner or at nickel because we don't cross-train freshmen. Stuff like that. To hear this guy is getting all of this of like, hey, we'll see what he can do at corner. We'll see what he can do at nickel. Hell, he might be a running back at some point is so crazy to me and so different. They change install every year, so it stays fresh for new players. He mentioned how, man, I can't believe it's KJ Bolden's third year already. I feel like we were just now talking about he's a freshman. However, every year KJ Bolden has had different styles of install. They try to keep things fresh for these players. They try to change it up so it doesn't become redundant. So you're not coming year 3, year 4 of like, yeah, I've learned all this. I have nothing left to learn as a football player. So I thought that was pretty interesting. He was asked, what are the traits you look for in a safety of, hey, we're trying to get you to a start. What is it we're looking for? First one, tackling. You are the last line of defense. You have to be able to secure tackling, and then playing the ball downfield. I think those are kind of the two main.
It's what Kirby Smart mentioned for that position as well.
Cover, play the ball, tackle.
Yep.
This is where T-Rob got his second pop from the crowd today. So I don't know if you guys remember last year or was it 2 years ago how he mentioned that, players keep him accountable as well. He gets texts from guys to go running and all those things. I don't remember who asked it, but someone's like, hey, coach, I know you mentioned a while back that, you had players keeping you accountable. Is that still happening? Or is people still reaching out? His only answer is he looks deadpan and goes, I must look big today. Another just eruption. Like, man, T-Rob's killing it right now. He was a stand-up comedy bit from T-Rob a little bit. But then he said, no, I do have players still. We do go running a good bit. All of that good stuff. Still got some people keeping him accountable. Next pop from T-Rob. People are like, hey, you talk with Mike Bobo a lot. What are you seeing from the offense that pushes you guys to better? He had mentioned earlier in his speech that, like, we practice against one of the best teams we're going to play every day, so that's what makes us better. That then brought the question of, hey, what does Mike Bobo do for you in pushing the ball downfield and challenging your defense? So me and Mike Bobo are great friends. He really challenges us. We try to challenge him. Mentioned they are golf partners in the offseason, so they've done a lot of golfing together, which of course brings the follow-up question of, hey, who's better? And he pauses for a few seconds and he goes, we're tied. Another laugh.
That means Bobo's better.
And that's what he says.
Yeah.
And I said, if
I've heard Bobo's kind of a stick.
I'm sure.
I'd like to find out.
And he goes, so yeah, when someone says they're tied, that means the other person's better. So next question, this is the final one. Someone then follows up like, hey, coach, what do you think of Mike Bobo's stash? Before he even finished, like, and this Leland does the, we got time for one more question. He goes, it's terrible, and walks off. T-Rob won the day.
4 minutes and 40 seconds, so I don't know if you officially made your 36-minute mark.
Well, if we did 36 minutes, it would be 9:36. Right? Considering it's 9:42, I think we're good.
I think he deserves a golf clap.
Thank you. So that concludes 6 and 6 with Christian Kirby. 6
Attaboy.
coaches, 6 minutes.
That a boy. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button. Make sure you're liking the stream. Make sure you're telling a friend. All that good stuff. That was Presser Notes. Probably the most assistant coaches they've ever given us. By the way, Grayson is getting skull drug right about now. It's North Gwinnett just scored again to go up 23-0.
I heard. Might not be great though.
Yeah, we'll see. The reason I'm watching is because Georgia might be flipping Preston Glasgow, but he just got cooked. So we'll see. All right, do y'all want to play What If? Do y'all want to do NFL scout comments? What do you want to do?
NFL scout comments will also take, honestly, NFL scout comments will take us home.
All right, let's do it.
So I believe it was The Athletic released a bunch of NFL scouting comments, did the anonymous things. So there's about 10 players that we got quotes on.
10 players.
Yeah,
Okay.
we got an in-depth look at this.
Is one of them Peyton Woodring?
No. Unfortunately, one of them
Bummer.
is not Peyton Woodring. The first one we got a quote on, defensive back Khalil Barnes. Quote, he's instinctual, but there are questions to answer this season. Does he have length? Is he twitchy? What's he like in man coverage? He'll be a nice fit for what Kirby does. He's good down in coverage, but we're not sure he's great in post. He's more of a zone curl flat player who's aggressive in run support. Do we feel like that's a fair assessment of one Khalil Barnes?
Yeah, I felt like he was a nickel that got made to play out of position last year at safety at Clemson. So, yeah, no, and what they're labeling right there with like questions about twitch and long speed and general athleticism, that's why Georgia passed up on him in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia is a North Oconee High School football player. Georgia recruited him. He came to camp, I think 5 or 6 times, never ran fast enough for them to pull the trigger on him, and played great football for 3 years at Clemson, and now he's a Georgia Bulldog. So, and he's playing the right position in the nickel.
And
One of those players I would imagine where, and you don't really find this out until they get to this level either of, well, like instincts probably make up for the lack of top end speed. I would imagine like one of those things, like he's able to move first, which makes up for the lack of speed.
In that star position for sure.
Yeah.
And also, correct me if I'm wrong, Tyke Smith was like a major red flag when he got there. Like, hey, this guy might not be able to run with some of the guys.
Well, I think a lot of that was the knee injury stuff. He came in banged up and then was banged up for like basically the first 12 months he was on campus.
Right, yeah.
And then
But even
ran
in like
4.42 at the combine, and everybody's like, what?
but even like heading into 2023, like insides, it's far enough. Like inside sources were like, this guy cannot run. Like,
Yeah.
we got to hide him.
Well, I think outside sources too, other opposing offensive coordinators would try to take him first.
Exactly. So I think the fact that that didn't come to fruition might be a good indication for Khalil Barnes. The next sound off we have from scouts, center Drew Bobo. Quote, he's smart, can anchor the offensive line, positions himself well, not a big-time drive blocker, so he's a pace guy that works well to the second level with good angles. You can tell he's a coach's kid because he plays the game really smart.
Yeah, that pretty much sums up Drew Bobo, I would say.
Yeah.
Just always in the right spot, always knows where to go, always doing the right things.
Next up, we have safety KJ Bolden. He's a little long in his movements, but he should be a good press safety. He has good cover skills and is more so a strong safety than a free safety. A little bit hip stiff, but can handle covering a tight end. He needs to work on his flexibility and become better in coverage. Very interesting considering KJ Bolden is
That's an Arizona Cardinals scout. That guy doesn't know ball. That guy does not know
I was
ball.
going to say, it's very
None of that makes sense.
Yeah.
very
none of
interesting
that makes
considering
sense.
KJ Bolden has played exclusively free safety the 2 years he's been at Georgia.
Yeah, no, that guy knows no ball.
I think he saw the one Clemson tackle and was like, yep, strong safety. That guy needs to play there.
Yeah, I've never one stiff isn't really something I would describe.
No, I would never describe him
KJ
as
Bolden.
stiff.
He's a very fluid mover.
Yeah. Yeah, no more quotes from
Are
that
we
guy.
are we sure he was
No
watching KJ Bolden?
Like, who knows? I mean, I
Was he watching Kyron Jones last year?
Yeah, like
Did
what?
he have the wrong number? What was he?
I don't know.
That guy
But
doesn't know ball.
that one was where I was like, huh. Next quote we have is linebacker Chris Cole. Quote, we got 2 quotes from this one, so 2 different sources sounded
Anybody call him a freak?
No. Dang. Quote, he often plays detached from the line of scrimmage. He's like a safety, not a prototypical outside linebacker in a 3-4 scheme. He's good in coverage, a little bit stiff. He's a space player, but with his size, he may need to play outside linebacker in a 4-3 scheme.
Might need to.
Which, is there a faucet running over there?
Yeah, probably.
I hear
Fix that in a second.
I hear water. It's fine. I just want to make sure like the studio is not flooding. But I don't know if I agree. Like Chris Cole needs.
They
to
said,
be,
wait, they said he's like a safety?
he's like a safety.
How are you
exactly-
like a safety but also stiff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like a safety probably needs to play closer to the line of scrimmage, though.
That makes no sense.
Well, here's the second quote.
I think we're finding out how these guys get fired.
And this is a different scout. He's long. He's aggressive and he's good in zone coverage, not great in man-to-man coverage. The role Georgia plays him in is perfect for him. He's a hybrid linebacker with upside.
His freshman year, that's what they did with him. They let him play man-to-man coverage against tight ends. These guys don't know ball.
Thank God they were anonymous with this one, because boy, oh boy, this would have been bad.
6'4", 230 pounds, like a safety, but is kind of stiff. Might need to play edge rusher in the same quote. HR, find the anonymous quote. Get his butt too.
Boy, HR is about to have the busiest day of their lives tomorrow.
Oh, my God. Tailback Nate Frazier. He's a good player, but nothing special. A straight-ahead guy. He's a hard-running kid.
Also stupid. He's all cuts. That's all he does.
He's a hard-running kid. A bit north and south, not a lot of make-you-miss, a little bit upright, but a strong runner who runs through arm tackles. I'll be interested to see how he catches the ball out of the backfield on a consistent basis.
Boy, did they watch Josh McCray instead?
He consistently makes too many cuts on tape last year.
Yeah.
It's just like, dude, stick it. Just go. That's what we felt like last year. It's like, you're doing too much. Just go.
Now, I will say that there was a stretch
Dirty yards early. Yeah.
There was a stretch of games last year where that kind of was Nate's game. Like, it was just, I'm going to stick my nose in it and I'm going to go as long as I can. I don't know if that's not him as a player, though. Like, if you were to watch him over his entire career, that's definitely not how I would describe Nate Frazier.
Offensive tackle Ernest Green. He's probably going to end up playing right tackle in the league. He doesn't have great foot speed, but he has great foot length and good size. He's really good in gap scheme, but not as effective.
Foot length.
I guess feet size.
What in the are we doing? What is foot length?
He's really good in gap scheme, but not as effective in space as a left tackle. I'm sure he'll be working on that flexibility.
Who's the next non-ball
Boy,
talking
no,
about
hold
these
on.
comments?
Could you imagine you're a scout for an NFL organization and your coach sends you out to go scout Ernest Green? Hey, we need you to go down to Georgia. Let us know about that
Wait,
left
you see
tackle
the
they
foot
got.
length on this guy.
All right, what do you got, Mr. Scout? Boy, the feet on this guy are just massive. That's the first note. That's the first thing.
We got a foot fetish going on here. Next quote. Gabe Harris, edge
Is
defender.
Rex Ryan watching him? Good God, what's going on?
Gabe Harris, edge defender. There needs to be more tape on him. He hasn't played a ton of snaps.
What in the world?
He's long and has good size, but he's somewhat stiff. He plays the run well, but there are plays he doesn't finish the rush.
He literally did not come off the field last year.
Maybe
Nobody on that defense played more snaps than he or KJ Bolden.
Yeah, maybe we need another season of that. I don't know.
Good Lord, he couldn't have played more snaps last year.
Tight end Lawson Lucky. He's a good player. He's more of an NFL H-back than tight end. He struggles in line and he doesn't really move people. He's more of an on the move space blocker and a passer receiver. He'll be challenged to be an inline blocker or a Y because of his body type.
Okay.
I think that one.
That's the only guy that knows ball.
Yeah.
I think that one is accurate enough to say that Lawson Lucky probably struggles a bit in line. It's why Todd Hartley made such a request that he gets up to 245 and made jokes about it. I don't think inline blocking is Lawson Lucky's game.
These guys are plumb idiots.
I think that's fair. I also don't know if H-back is a role that we really have in the NFL anymore. It's more just like, hey, tight end or oversized running back. You're the H-back for this formation. Quarterback Ellis Robinson. This should be good. He uses his length well, but we'll need to see him play off coverage more and see how he handles that. We want to see how he handles smaller, quicker receivers because he handles the big, tall guys really well.
Yeah, because that's what NFL guys want to see their first-round corners do, play zone coverage. Yeah, it's like, oh, he's great in cover 3, but he can't play man-to-man.
Also,
got to draft him first.
Also, if you're drafting a first-round corner, that also likely means you want him to be your CB1. Don't know how often CB1s are going to be lining up against the quick, small guys.
Yeah, I could imagine sitting in the scouting room and being like, all right, guys, what do you think about this Pat Surtain guy? Coach, I don't know if he can play zone. I don't know. I don't know if he can drop and play zone coverage and play the football. Shut up.
We're down to our last two players, our last two scouting reports. Quarterback Gunnar Stockton. Quote, is he draftable? He needs to process better and work through the progressions. He manages the game really well, but we'll have to see if he can drive the ball and throw the deep comeback. He's a talented kid and a great leader, but we'll have to see if the traits equate to the NFL.
All right. I'm cool with that
pretty,
one.
Pretty cookie cutter right there.
I think that's
Yeah.
a fair assessment. I don't think there's anything super out of the ordinary there. I think that's fine. Final scouting report. Linebacker Raylan Wilson. He should probably stay after this year.
Well, he literally can't. So
We like him. He's a really good athlete, a will linebacker in the NFL, capable of playing 3 downs. You wish he was a bit more of a take on the block type of guy, but he's smart, tough, and instinctive, and he has good vision and good skill. And
Okay, so that makes me think that maybe these evaluations are from last year, like at the very end of last season, maybe. Like if we're saying that about Raylan, like he should probably stay after this year, unless you just actually don't know. I don't know. I think my favorite theory right now, though, is from chat, and it says these are just Eagle Scouts tanking the draft stock of all these players so they can take them. That's the most explainable theory for some of these comments and evals.
That would make sense, honestly. So those are the scouting reports for Georgia football players heading into or eligible for the 2027 NFL draft.
non-ball knowers. What if Wednesday?
Bring it on.
I'm going to start negative, so y'all go ahead.
Okay, I'll go ultra positive then. What if KJ Bolden, Chris Cole, Ellis Robinson, and Nate Frazier all have massive year 3 leaps?
I think that here's the thing. I think that's great news. I think you're kind of also banking on that happening.
Well, yeah, to some degree,
you
yeah.
kind of are hoping and expecting.
Well, and like, well, let's put it this way. Like, this kind of is really the only one that it applies to. Play. Like, if KJ Bolden doesn't take this massive year 3 leap, like he just kind of remains the same player that he has been, that's not necessarily a bad thing to a degree. Like KJ Bolden has been a good player for Georgia up to this point. Doesn't mean he doesn't reach that greatness territory, possibly, but KJ Bolden, that wouldn't be necessarily bad news. Now, you do need Chris Cole to make a year 3 leap. You need Ellis Robinson and Nate to do that. But so, yes, I somewhat agree with what you're saying. You are banking on those players having massive year 3 leaps.
What if Elias Williams isn't the best tight end on the roster?
Who is?
What if, Jan Riddell, Ethan Barbour hasn't a crazy, like, what if Lawson Lucky just puts it all together from a H standpoint?
I mean, if we do negative reactions like we do Bryson Beaver throwing 1 completion and he's the GOAT all of a sudden, Elias Williams had 1 drop, so he's going to be terrible. He had 1 drop Sunday when we were out there, so he's going to be poop.
Not good news.
Not good news. You know, just set the whole room on fire.
On to the Lincoln Keys hype train.
Solid. What if you're just not good enough at wide receiver?
I think
Can you run the football and play defense to the rate that you need to win a national title?
I think the hope for that is if you're not good enough at wide receiver, you got to be good enough at running back, quarterback, and tight end, and offensive line, which inklings and indications would say that that's probably possible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Georgia didn't have an insane wide receiver core in 2021. They had really good players that made really good plays, but like Ladd McConkey, great player. Ladd McConkey was not the Ladd McConkey that we knew in 2021. He was a great player. I think he had like 2 catches in the Natty.
Mm-hmm.
So like, and AD Mitchell stepping up was huge, but like they didn't have an otherworldly wide receiver core in 21.
Basically, what you're saying, can Georgia be Michigan 2023?
Yeah.
Can they do that?
And I think they can.
There's a world maybe where it happens, yes. It'd be pretty concerning, though, if that weren't, like, if the wide receiver group just wasn't good enough this year.
Are
You
they
just
not?
can't have a bad day defensively, ever.
Right.
No. Are they not good enough, or are they just not? Are they not good enough, or are they bad?
No, they're just not good enough.
So
They're not game changers. There's nobody in there that can take over a game.
Yeah.
You go into games knowing, hey, we're going to have to run the football and play defense.
I think I would say that it's a concern for sure. There's still a world where you win the Natty.
Okay.
What if I told you Georgia will get the backups reps in 4 games this season?
First 3 games this season, and then Tech.
Oh, 5 games this season. The games I had were the 4 that I had: Tennessee State, Western Kentucky, Vanderbilt, and Georgia Tech. Add in Arkansas. That's 5 games. And I think that's a very plausible scenario where I think you could believe where in those 5 games, Georgia's up big enough in the second half to where the backups do get a whole lot of run. And I think it was 5 games for Carson Beck during the 2022 season.
Correct.
Now, I don't know if it'll be as early as it was in some of those games in the 2022 season, but I think there's definitely a world where 15 minutes on the clock in the fourth quarter, all right, QB2 and the backups, let's go get you some burn for a whole quarter.
Yeah, and I would love to know what the threshold is. Like, is it 3 scores? Is it X number of minutes left in the game? Like, what is it that makes you say, all right, it's time to put...
I think it's definitely 3 scores.
Time to put Ryan
in the fourth
in.
quarter. Like if it's a 2-score lead in the fourth quarter in a conference game, you're keeping your starters out there.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think it's the line has historically been 28 points or more. And that's what you have to be up in the second half to get the backups in.
What if Georgia doesn't allow more than 35 points all season?
Doesn't allow.
Very plausible. I think it happens in the regular season. I think that happens.
I was gonna say, which offense would pose the biggest threat there? Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
That'd be the scenario where maybe it happens, where I believe it the most.
I'm saying all season. Playoffs,
Oh,
conference championships.
I think it's almost like it seems. Well, I mean, Indiana didn't get into one of these situations, but it seems like almost everybody has to go through a moment where you got to win a shootout in today's world of college football.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
Indiana didn't have to last year.
I said aside from Indiana last year, they didn't have to do it.
Sorry.
Good.
I'm reading chat.
They are a little distracting, aren't they?
Sometimes.
In a good way.
Yeah, in a great way. I think we got the best chat on YouTube.
Amen.
Big dubs in the chat. Big dubs in the chat. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen. It's more of a what happens if it happens and where can you go. I'll explain it. What if you sustain an injury? Mm-hmm. What position group is most suited to sustain an injury? What position group is not?
I'd say you could have an injury in the tight end room probably.
You can't have an injury at quarterback.
No, but you never have an injury at quarterback.
Well, some schools, it actually works out better for them.
Sometimes.
The backup's shockingly better.
You can't have an injury in the center position, which that's not a room per se. The offensive line is a room, but...
I think Cortez Smith's going to be okay this year.
Okay. Can't have an injury in the quarterback room. Yeah, maybe you can. I don't know.
I'd maybe go X receiver again.
Yeah,
that seems to be like I think about it all the time. Last year, had you had a full season of both Colby and Zachariah Branch last year, I'm not saying that the season goes completely different or that your issues get solved because you had Colby in the Sugar Bowl, and it unfortunately didn't matter all that much. But I do think that the offense is viewed a little differently than how it was if they had both of those guys last year because Colby Young was looking like he was going to have a great season alongside Zachariah.
We good?
We're good.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back tomorrow for another live stream. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button on your way out. I love you. Most importantly, Jesus loves you. We'll see you.